What is up? What is up? What is up, everyone? How y'all doing tonight? I know I'm like 15 minutes late. I had some technical difficulties with the audio. Make sure I'm good on the audio. Make sure y'all can hear me clearly. My computer did some kind of update and it rearranged my settings. I had to set everything back. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Let me know if y'all can hear me good. Okay, volume good. What's going on, Miss Gotti? How you doing tonight? All right, I'm good. Cool. Yeah, so today we'll be talking about the draft. You know, everything that's been going on, transfer portal, everything that's been going on. I'll be opening up the call lines a little later so y'all can call in and let everybody know what you thought about the draft and things like that. Let me turn my music on. Just a second, y'all. Miss Avitude, what's going on? How y'all doing? Jay Ware said my audio is good. All right, cool. Let me put everything up, y'all. Hold on just a second. Yeah, my computer was doing some kind of update, and I was like, what is going on? This thing just rearranged all my settings. I had to get everything back straight again. But we good now. We're going to have a good show tonight. You know, Mr. Ford going to call in. He always calling in with the good game. But yeah, I want to hear from everybody tonight about the draft, man. I thought the draft was really good, but I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied because, I think there should have been more guys to get drafted. I think Marquise Bell not being drafted was a disservice to everything the NFL has been saying that they're trying to, get better at. And my thing is, what was the Legacy Bowl for? The HBCU Legacy Bowl, you had that, and you had the HBCU Combine, but we only still had 4 guys to get drafted. Now, I understand that when it comes to getting drafted, everybody's not gonna go. I understand that, but I thought it would have been more than 4. I thought we'd have had at least 8 guys, but it was a good draft. I'm glad that Kobe Durant. I'm glad James Houston went. I think James Houston should have went early. I thought that was a steal where they got him at. Joshua Williams shocked me, even though I've been hearing people saying that he was going to be the first one, but evidently that guy has some he's an athletic freak, and those teams just took a chance on him. Him coming from a D2 HBCU, I thought they was going to ding him for that, but seems like they was ready to take him. Ja'Tai Carter going to the Bears, I think that's a good fit for him because I definitely think he's going to make that squad because Justin Fields, they need protection for him. And they pretty much just loading up on offensive lineman guys. So if he goes in there, does what he's supposed to do, I think Ja'Tai Carter would definitely make that squad. I think James Houston is going to make his squad as well. Just that dog that he has in him, able to rush the quarterback. And I think once he shows Detroit what he can do against that level of play, I believe he's going to be all right. How would you grade the draft for HBCUs? I would grade it for, let me see. I would have to say, I would give it a C. I would give it a C. It was good, especially guys getting free agent contracts. We got a lot of guys getting free agent deals. You got Al Young, he got a free agent deal. You got Marquise Bell. As soon as the draft was over with, he was one of the first ones to get a free agent deal with the Cowboys. I really wish he would have went to the Eagles. Me personally, I wish he would have went to the Eagles. I think that he would have definitely made that Eagles team and definitely been a player that they would have invested in. But I could see the Cowboys working too for him. But just me personally, I think he just fits the Eagles, what they do and the history of their defense. I think he fits them better. Raw True said should have been 7 HBCU player draft. Exactly. It should have been 7 or 8. Like Marquise Bell, to me that was a slap in the face. Like my thing is, so Philadelphia and Dallas said that they were bidding for him. It was like they went through like a bidding war for him, giving him offers. Now, why just not draft the kid? Why just not draft him? You want him, just draft him. Give him the honor of being a draft pick. One thing I don't want these NFL teams to do is try to get HBCU players on the cheap. Like, no, draft our guys. Get them the honor of being a draft pick, and then you work them into your organization like that. Don't wait till after the draft and then you offer them, a contract for an undrafted free agent. I think James Houston should have been drafted in the 3rd round. Yeah, he was good enough. But one thing I can say with Coach Prime being at Jackson State, their players are getting a leg up on people. I'm just being honest, cause you see all these Jackson State players as soon as the draft was over, like the next day, they're getting camp invites, free agent deals, and things like that. Like, you don't see too many schools getting that. You don't even see too many other FCS and Power 5 schools getting that kind of clout. So Coach Prime has his connections in the NFL, so he's probably working his connections. Now I haven't seen Warren Newman going to anywhere yet. I haven't been online in a few hours though, so I'm not sure if he's went somewhere yet, but I hope that he gets a chance somewhere. I'm very proud of James Houston Corbin. Yeah, I am, man. And keep Corbin in Buffalo. I think he can make that squad. Definitely think he can make that squad. Swag Buzz, what do you think about Glass not being drafted? I think, this was a tough year for quarterbacks in general. I think they should have probably took him in the 7th round. I could have seen him going in the 7th round, but when it comes to this situation, like sometimes they say in the 6th and 7th round, 6th and 7th round or the end of the 7th round, you kind of want to be you probably want to get a free agent contract because you could pick where you go. When you're in the 7th round, you just go into a team. When you're a free agent, when you sign in on as a free agent, you can just pick where you go. But I think Akil Glass should have been drafted. I think he's good enough. I think he's gonna definitely be somebody that's gonna be on Tampa Bay's radar for a minute. He might go on the practice squad for a few years. He might do the practice squad for a few years, but I think that he's gonna be all right. I think him being in that system with Tom Brady, I think he's gonna be good to go. Antoine Owens has been the most slept-on player throughout the entire process. He was dominant for JSU last year, but I haven't heard a peep about him. Yeah, that's shocking to me too. Yeah, that's shocking to me too. Let me see. Goody Gaddy might be a day 2 pick when it's time. He has the size. Oh yeah, I like Gaddy. It depends on the year that he has. He has to have a good year. But I'm gonna open up the phone line so y'all can call in and let everyone know what y'all think. Give me just a moment, y'all. All right, that's the number, 657-390-4814. The phone lines are open. Y'all can call in, let everybody know what you think. We just chopping it up. This thing with Isaiah Land going into the transfer portal, man. A lot of people are up in arms over Isaiah Land. I think he should stay at FAMU. That's just me personally. I think he should stay at FAMU. I don't want to see him go. I think he's gonna get to the NFL from FAMU. But people be in their ear, man. People be in these players' ear, telling, man, you might well go and enter the transfer portal, man. You can get to a Power 5 team. You one of the best players in LCS. You can get to a Power 5 team and then go to the league. And then them watching that draft and they see all these players from these Power 5 schools going to the league and stuff like that. So it plays with their mind, But I think he should stay at FAMU. I think him being a FAMU draft pick would really be a great thing. I know Marquise Bell not getting drafted probably kind of scared him a little bit, and he probably like, man, I might have to go ahead and move up so I can go to the NFL. Caller, you can call back. The caller that just called, you can call back. But I really felt sad for Marquise Bell though, because I think he is going to be a great player in the NFL, and they should have took him in the draft. Like, NFL. All right, got a call coming in. Give me 1 second, y'all. All right, this might be Mr. Ford. Hold on. Hello, call you live. Talk to me.
This is Mr. Ford. This is Mr. Ford out of Atlanta. How you doing?
I'm good, Mr. Ford. Let me make sure they can hear you. Hold on just a second. Can y'all hear Mr. Ford?
Okay. All right.
Let me make sure they can hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
They said they can hear you?
Yeah. Can you hear me, Miss Gowdy?
Let me make sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay.
All right. Cool. So, Mr. Ford, what you thought of the draft?
Oh, I was happy. We got 4 in. Last year we got 0 in. I think we had 0 drafted. This time we got 4 drafted. So we moving up. I was happy about that. And I'm going to say this to y'all again, like I just told some people on another call I was on. Don't worry about that kid, that Marquise Bale kid. That kid going to turn Dallas out.
Yeah.
That kid going to turn Dallas. I've been watching that boy since 2019. That kid can play.
Yeah, I think
whether he's drafted or free agent, that boy's going to turn Dallas out. He's got, he going to see the defensive coordinator was here in Atlanta. He was with the Falcons. He was the head coach. He was one that helped put together that Legion of Boom defense out there at Seattle. You remember them guys? They played for Pete Carroll.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of them safeties he had. I can't remember them guys' names. One was from Virginia Tech, and I can't think of their names. But that kid from FAMU fits that mold. He's going to turn it out. But what I've been telling everybody is this. Don't even worry about that Land kid, because I'm going to tell you right now, and I better check on it. FAMU's defense ain't going to miss Land. Listen, Land will miss Fam. Fam ain't going to miss Land. And the only reason them FAMU people is up in arms about that boy Lee, but they saying that Land is going into the transfer portal because they don't know what's coming to Fam. Fam got some boys coming, just like Jackson State got some boys coming, Alabama State got some boys coming, Southern got some boys coming. Listen, we getting flooded with some top-notch athletes. I'm telling you now, this kid, that Land kid, is not going to be missed. There you go. Somebody put it right there. Cam Chancellor. Thank you, Wellington Oaks. That's right. That Cam Chancellor guy, I'm telling you now, watch that kid, that Marquise Bale kid down there at Dallas. Watch him now. Just watch him. They got to steal. They got to steal and didn't have to draft him.
Yeah,
that's right. There you go.
I would have liked him to go to the Eagles, but Dallas is a good fit for him too.
Yeah, he'll fit right in. I could see him at the free or the strong. Don't even and see the other thing about that kid, that Bale kid, you can play him up as if he's a linebacker. And listen, he will stick somebody too, baby. I'm telling you, I've been watching him a long time. Listen, they got a steal in that Bale kid.
So what do you think about them not drafting him? Do you think that these teams should go out their way to draft?
Well, they do us like that because they can pay us less money.
Yeah, see, that's why I don't like that.
If you hang, you'll get your money. But they've always done black college players like that. Instead of drafting you, they would bring you in as a free agent so they can give you less money. Yeah. It's economics. It's economics.
See, I don't
You're
like
getting
that.
Quality talent at a cheaper price.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we got to stop. I think the thing that HBCUs have to do, because I see the bias that they have for these Power 5 schools during the draft, like we have to schedule some Power 5 games, and I wouldn't be mad if we schedule some Power 5 games, and our players really have to compete and show their talent during these games, because when I'm looking at them going through these small school players that get drafted, they're talking about their Power 5 performances. They're talking about their performances against Clemson. That's all they're talking about. So I think when we do play Power 5 schools, our players definitely have to put on, like when Southern go to LSU, them players need to have the mentality that I'm auditioning for the NFL. I really have to put on today because this is the tape they're going to put on when I'm trying to get into the draft. So I think we need to really take those games serious.
The only thing about, scheduling all these Power 5 programs is this. You have 65 as a SWAC school and as an FCS member. Mm-hmm. You have 65 scholarships. They have 85. I don't know if you remember, we had 2 kids. One kid played against Southern went up and played the University of Georgia, and I think that kid got his neck broken. Okay. Next, we had a kid at Tennessee State. He went up and played against Vanderbilt, and he was hurt seriously. That kid who was hurt up at from Tennessee State that hurt at the Vanderbilt game, he was from Atlanta. I can't think of his name, but he went to Westlake High School. That's the only thing, and I understand what you're saying, but we got to protect them kids now, because when you play, you say LSU, they might have 85 scholarship players, but they got about 200-300 players ready to go now. So we have to be very careful. Got to protect our kids. I basically believe we need to stay in the FCS. I'm gonna be honest with you. No. I don't like the money games. I don't.
I don't like them either. But it's their system. You know what I'm saying? And we have to play the game that they're playing. And when I watch this draft, I see, okay, they have this bias towards, because like with Jacoby Durant, when Jacoby Durant got drafted, what game was that? What game were they talking about? The Clemson game. They were saying, "Oh yeah, he did this against Clemson.
They talked about the Celebration Bowl now.
Yeah, they talked about. Bowl. Well, I watched the ESPN feed. All Mel Kiper was talking about was Clemson. Yeah, you see what he did against Clemson. You see this, blah 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 blah. So we have. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that we have to go out and just all play Power 5 schools. I'm not saying that. But when we do play Power 5 schools, our players need to put on.
Let me tell you this. I remember when Mayor Kiper said that Warren Sapp wasn't going to be nothing, and Warren Sapp in the Hall of Fame. Is he in the Hall of Fame?
Oh yeah.
Okay. That was a defensive end at South Carolina State. He played for the Detroit Lions. Well, when Detroit drafted him, Mel Kiper said it was the worst thing they could have done. I can't think of that kid's name. He played for Willie Jeffries. He's in the Detroit Hall of Fame. Oh, I can't think of his name. But now, listen, you just brought up a guy. I don't want to hear nothing he got to say, and that's Mayor Kiper. I remember when Mayor Kiper and Todd McShay pretended that Cam Newton couldn't play. They said he couldn't even. They said that Blaine Gabbert was better than him, and that Cam couldn't even call a play, and he didn't even know how to hold a football. So there you go, real talk. Robert Porsche. I remember when Porsche was drafted out of. He was drafted by Detroit out of South Carolina State, and the first thing Mayor Kiper said was it was a wasted draft. Porsche wasn't going to do nothing, and he was from a small school. So that's what I'm saying. When it comes to Mayor Kiper, I don't even want to hear nothing he got to say. Yeah. I really don't. Listen, when Kiper say something, I assume the opposite.
Yeah, I'm not saying that SWAC schools need to go schedule Power 5 schools. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is when we do schedule Power 5 schools and our players play them, they need to take that game serious to the point where they like, this is an audition for the NFL. So when you play those games, know that going in. Because I don't want to see any lackadaisical plays. Like when they go up 2 touchdown scores or whatever, y'all just, being lackadaisical on the field because you're about to get blown out. I've seen that in the past, and I want our HBCU players to get in their minds, this is the interview. This is you auditioning for the NFL. Go hard every play.
Yeah, I like I said, now I'm gonna be honest with you. I love the schedule that Jackson State has this year. I love it. I believe that if that offensive line comes through, I believe that they will go undefeated. But I really like that schedule. Does that schedule have a power? Does it have a 1A team on it?
No, it don't. I mean, no, we just got Campbell and all the rest of them at HBCU.
I love that schedule. I love Gramblin's schedule. I love Southern's schedule. I like the only thing I know they had to do it, but this is what scares me. FAMU scheduled the University of North Carolina the week before the Orange Blossom Classic. Now, I know some people say, well, what that got to do with anything? I'm just hoping that nobody gets hurt when they go up to Chapel Hill, because I want that to be a classic matchup between Jackson State and FAMU in an Orange Blossom Classic, and I don't want any of them kids hurt. Yeah. I want everybody in good shape and ready to go. But I just the timing of that North Carolina game, it's week 0, it's the last week in August, and it's the week before the Orange Blossom Classic. That's the only thing I'm just a little, I don't know, I shouldn't be worried about it, but I just hope none of the guys get hurt.
All right, Mr. Ford, I'm putting you on hold real quick. I got a call coming in. Let me get them and get their opinion on what's going on.
Okay. All right.
What's going on, Carter? You live? Talk to me.
Yes, SWAC. This is KD giving you a call from Atlanta, Georgia.
What's going
How you
on?
doing?
Shout out to Atlanta.
Yeah, man. It was a couple things that kind of stood out to me watching the draft.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking that I don't know about the SWAC playing like, Power 5 schools, but I do think that the NFL as a whole, I just don't really see them respecting the SWAC like that. I think in order for the SWAC to gain that respect, I feel like they're going to have to play some higher level FCS schools and not only play those games, but win those games. I feel like that's really the only way to, get some type of respect. Because James Houston, man, he shouldn't have failed to like the 6th round, man.
I think
I understand, but
yeah. I think it's changing. I think it's starting to change.
Yeah.
I feel like Jackson State is a different beast because they have Coach Prime. I feel like if Jackson State just dominates their schedule, because that's what Deion wants. He wants to go through this schedule 13-0, dominating it, blowing out everybody. That's what his goal is. And I think if they do that, their players are going to be straight. But I do think.
But let me ask you this though: you don't believe that? Do you believe that that's going to look good upon the SWAC though, for them to go undefeated again?
Yeah, you're right. It's gonna look bad for the other teams in the SWAC because it's gonna look like, okay, Deion built this team up and he just ran through the SWAC, and all those teams are lower level teams. So it's gonna make them look bad. But one thing you got to understand is the exposure they're gonna get from playing Jackson State. Those players on those other teams, they'll be able to get those looks because Jackson State is going to be on TV. They're going to be going viral. Travis Hunter plays are going to be going viral and stuff like that. Just think about it. When they play Southern or FAMU, if I'm a defender or an offensive player and Travis Hunter's checking me, I'm trying to go off that day because I know the cameras is going to be on him. I'm trying to serve him. So when they see that, okay, this kid did this against Travis Hunter, I'm in the NFL scout's mind then because I did that against the best player in the nation. So they're gonna have targets on their back. But I can see what you're saying if they blow out all the teams in the SWAC, it'll kind of make the conference look weak. But I think for the players, they'll be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, man. It was that stood out to me, like the players going so late. Man, there was players that I hadn't even heard of, man, and some of them was backups that was going before, like the SWAC players. I was like, this is just a sign that they just do not respect the SWAC like that. And I think really, again, the only way for them to gain respect is for them to play like some higher FCS schools and win those games. They're going to have to win those games or be like it's going to have to be a good game. If they lose and they lose by like a couple points, but it was like a good game, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. But the other thing that kind of stood out to me, man, was James Houston. When they drafted James Houston, man, they didn't show no highlights from Jackson State. I was like, why they keep showing this Florida stuff, man?
It depends on what I think the NFL Network had his Jackson State workout clip showing. Yeah. So he had his Jackson State shirt on and everything. But it depends on which program you watch. I know the ESPN feed, they didn't really show anything on him. And then
the one that I was watching, man, they showed all of his they showed him playing at Florida. I was like, man,
okay, so that was Detroit Lions. That was their personal social media playing his highlights. That's why Deion Sanders went off on them, because he was like, why you didn't show the Jackson State highlights? Why are you showing his Florida highlights? And it's been a rumor going around that the intern or the reporter for the team said they couldn't get in contact with Jackson State and they couldn't get clearance to use the highlights from Jackson State, so they used his Florida highlights. I don't know if I believe that, but that's the story they're going with, and it is what it is.
Okay. Yeah, man. Well, anyway, man, I watch your show, man. I appreciate what you're doing, man. Keep doing what you do. I'm just hoping, this upcoming season, man, some of the SWAC schools can, beat some of these higher FCS schools so they can finally get the respect they deserve.
Yeah, we got a few schools playing FCS schools. I know we got one playing Austin P. Oh yeah, we got a lot of good games this year. There's definitely
I knew there was something else I forgot to ask you, man. How did you feel about the boy Lamb possibly leaving Florida A&M? Is that gonna hurt the conference?
I think it's gonna. FAMU will still be competitive, but I think it's gonna hurt him, honestly, because the grass isn't always greener. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to understand, at these Power 5 schools, you got players that's been sitting for years under these NFL draft prospects. So you're not just about to walk in there and take somebody's spot because of the politics. You know what I'm saying? So, but if he goes to a program where he's good enough to make the starting roster, where the starting lineup, and the coach really talks to him and let him know, yeah, I need you. I want you to come. You can be a starter. But if he going to somewhere like Ohio State or somewhere like that just because of the logo and the glitz and glamour, he don't need to do that. He need to go somewhere where he can actually play, get on the field, and start. Because you don't want to be one of these guys like the kid from UAPB. I wanted Reggie Stubblefield. He was one of the top players in the SWAC from UAPB. He transferred to Kansas State, and he barely played. You know what I'm saying? So he played a little bit. Well, he started a lot of games, but he barely got any burn like that. You know, and he didn't get drafted. He went undrafted. He signed on as an undrafted free agent somewhere, but he didn't get drafted. Okay. So you could have stayed at UAPB for that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Yeah, I did hear about the running back from Delaware State who transferred to West Virginia. I think he ended up going back into the transfer portal.
Wow.
So I don't know what happened with him as well, but... All right, man. Well, I appreciate it, man. I'm going to keep watching your show. Keep doing your thing.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
All right. The college that just previously called, you can call back. I know y'all one caller called and hung up. You can call back and I put you on. Mr. Ford, can you hear me?
Yeah,
All right, I got you back on now. What do you think about anything the caller just said?
About who now?
I said, what do you think about what the caller just said?
Tell me again. Now, I heard him talking about they don't respect SWAC schools.
Yeah.
Is that what he was saying?
He was saying that we need to play higher level SCS.
A lot of those people that work, that run the GMs and the people who run those NFL teams, they come from those Power 5 schools.
Yeah.
Remember Ozzie Newsome? Ozzie Newsome was the general manager for years for the Baltimore Ravens. He was a Alabama graduate, but he did look out for HBCU players. Yeah. And there are a lot of those guys, automatically, the bias is that the best football players are at the Power 5 schools, okay? Yeah. So, yeah, they look down on the small schools or the FCS schools or the Division II schools. So you just have to go up and prove yourself. Like I'm telling you now, and SWAC, I'm going to have to go because I got to get ready for school tomorrow.
Okay, that's fine.
Listen, Dallas brought that kid in from Florida A&M, that Marquise Bell. That kid is going to show them. James Houston, when he gets up to Detroit, the main thing that James Houston is going to show those people in Detroit is his versatility. The fact that he can play in the middle and he can play on the outside. Okay? So that's what our players have to do when they whether they go as a free agent, whether they go as a draft pick, when it's time to perform, you got to do it. Like I tell everybody was talking about today about the young man that's going to Tampa Bay. To me, and I put a check on this, that kid that was at Alabama A&M, that quarterback, Akil Glass, Akil Glass was an NFL quarterback.
Yep.
And I don't care if he didn't get drafted or he went free agent and he only got an invite and all that. If he gets a chance, he's going to show him. Listen, SWAC, I got to get ready to go to bed, man. School tomorrow. Y'all have a good night, okay?
I appreciate you, Mr. Ford. You know you're always welcome.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, caller, I'm about to get you in 1 second. Hold on just a second. All right, caller, you live. Talk to me.
Gabriel Green.
What's going on, Gabriel?
What's going on, man? I guess first of all, I want to, congratulate everybody that was drafted and the undrafted free agent that got picked up.
Yeah.
Okay, now I understand that. Okay, you know, when James Houston got drafted by Detroit, I think the GM over at Detroit, his mother challenged him to draft somebody from the HBCU because he went to HBCU.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah, he said that.
So we go ahead.
I said, yeah, he said that his mother. I think he went to North Carolina A&T, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, his mom said, you know, since you went to HBCU, why don't you draft somebody from HBCU? And I was watching All School earlier, and he said something that made sense too. That HBCUs, you know, need representation in NFL, you know, in order to get up in there like that.
That's true. That's true.
And then also too, I guess it couldn't hurt if like the, you know, HBCU, especially the SWAC, if they did play, you know, I guess upper, not necessarily, you know, not necessarily, you know, like the SEC or Power 5, but at least bigger competition within the FCS, you know. Because like you say, it's not the fact that the water is cooler or the ice is cooler on the other side, but you got to play the game. You know, that's the only thing that they see, you know. But
yeah, it's a bias there. You know, it's a bias that exists there. I think, you know, we have a few HBCU schools or schools in the SWAC that's playing those schools this year. So I'm hoping that we give them great performances. It ain't necessarily have to be a win. It could just be good competitive games. Don't go in there and get blown. Don't go in there and get blown out. And I think, you know, that'll bring the level of play up for the SWAC and the level of respect up for the SWAC. Like I said, I think Jackson State is his own beast. They don't have to do that because, you know, they have the marketing and exposure from Coach Prime. So he's going to put a spotlight on them. But like I said, when Southern plays LSU, they need to really go out there and put on. They don't need to get blown out the field. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know you playing against an SEC team or whatever, but them boys need to play like their lives depend on it. You know, they really need to play. Go ahead.
Hey, case in point. Who's that? Tennessee State. You know who they're playing this? You know who they're playing next year? Not this year.
Notre Dame.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like Prairie View played Texas A&M. You know, I think a couple of games right before they played Jackson State for the SWAC championship.
Yeah.
And got molly whopped. And so you know, and
the reason why that happens is because of the line play. Like, for years, HBCUs haven't had the line that the SEC teams have. Now you see Coach Prime is starting to recruit guys on that size that has those measurables, because, you know, he sent his coaches up to, you know, the Minnesota Vikings and stuff to talk to those coaches to see what they look for in the NFL, you know, what measurables they look for and things like that. What, you know, they really sent, he was sending, I think it was Coach O. I want to say Coach O. He sent Coach O to the Minnesota Vikings to really work with the scouting coaches for the Minnesota Vikings to see what they look for. So that's why you see Jackson State bringing those big guys in, beefing up their line so they can be able to compete with those schools if they have to play them in the future. So I think I think the line play has been the thing that's been hurting the SWAC for so long.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Now it does start in the trenches. You know, if your line ain't no good. I still got the music on. My bad, y'all. Hold on, let me turn the music off. Yeah. All right, go ahead. You go ahead. I was agreeing with you. You know, especially on the offensive, like you say, if the line not no good, then, you know, you really don't have a chance, because, like you say, the what you call it, the your wideouts, your running backs, your quarterback. They can't do nothing if you don't have no protection.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So you're right about that. But anyway, man, that's all I really wanted to say, and we're gonna holler at you.
I appreciate it, man.
All right.
Oh, my bad about the music, y'all. So what I do is I cut the music off in my ear so it won't be so distracting when I'm talking. And I forgot that it was still playing. But appreciate y'all letting me know that it was still going. So I usually cut the music off when I get calls. So if y'all ever hear the music playing while people are on calls, I probably forgot to cut it off. So just remind me to cut it off. Appreciate y'all letting me know that. Well, the call lines are open. If you want to call 657-390-4814, 657-390-4814. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Hitting the like button, get the streams out to more people. So it really helps the channel. So please hit the like button. Morrison said, I like the music, just lower it. I got it on 10% volume. Yeah. Let me get this caller real quick, y'all. Hold on a second. What's going on, caller? You live? Talk to me.
What's going on, SWAC? This is J-Love, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
So, yeah, just in reference to everything that kind of took place in the draft, and I don't know if you heard, but the FCS Defensive Player of the Year from FAMU just entered the transfer portal.
Oh, yeah. We talked about that earlier.
Oh, y'all talked about it. My bad.
No, you good. You go ahead. Give your thoughts on it. What you think about that?
Yeah, so I think, like, do you think that that's because of the position? Like, all right, so I can't remember if this statistic is true, but I think that James Houston led the nation in sacks. If he didn't, he was like number 2 behind Isaiah Land, and he got drafted. He got drafted in the 6th round. Now, to me, Marquise Bell, 6'2", 6'3", 220 pounds, went to the combine, ran a 4.41, great run-stopping ability. He didn't get drafted at all, and he was an All-American. So, like, but then I look at it on the other end. You look at Jacoby Durant. He's 5'9", 175, 5'10", 175 pounds. To me, he got drafted relatively high, but Jacoby Durant was a dog.
Yeah, but you see what they did though.
Thinking about this all,
you see what they did when Jacoby Durant got drafted. They talked about his Clemson game. I think he got 2 picks against Clemson.
That's all.
So,
that's all they showed. So
yeah,
you get to my point. That's all they showed about Jacoby Durant was the video that when he played Clemson, because he showed out against Clemson.
Yep.
So I'm thinking, is the recipe this? That the SWAC got to start playing bigger and more stronger schools to show that these athletes are just as good as these Power 5 and other school athletes are, or do the players that's in the SWAC or HBCU players just have to dominate that bad? They have to lead the nation in sacks. They have to lead the nation in interceptions. They have to lead the nation in tackles in order to get drafted. Like,
I think it's a bit of both.
I've been thinking.
I think it's a bit of both. I think when you play in the SWAC, you have to dominate. It has to be no question that you that dog. James Houston, it was no question. Jacoby Durant, it was no question. Marquise Bell, it was no question. But he didn't have a spot like JSU players had. So he got, they pretty much they cheaped out on him and signed him on at a cheap price after the draft. But I think he's gonna be fine. But what I want the SWAC to do, I don't think we just need to rush out and go play Power 5. We need to be strategic with the schools that we schedule. The Power 5 schools that we schedule. Like Texas is weak. Texas didn't have a draft pick. Texas, I don't think only won 4 or 5 games this year. If you're gonna play somebody like that. Play somebody that's weak, but they have a big name. Even though we might lose to Texas.
Yeah.
We might lose to Texas, but I think the game would be more competitive than playing somebody like, Auburn or LSU, somebody that's good in the SEC that's gonna blow you out by 50-some points. You don't want that. You want to play a big name school that's weak at the moment that you can have a good game with, at least for 3 quarters.
And I kind of wanted to get your opinion about that. I don't like the fact that Southern scheduled LSU this year. I think that LSU is kind of going through a rebuilding process, but man, it's hard, man. LSU a tough team to beat down there in Death Valley, man. And I think that the SWAC is trying to turn the curve right now. I just want to bid off that piece of the pie just yet. Even LSU was down this year, and Alabama went down there, almost got their head knocked off, and they ended up playing the national championship game.
Yeah.
So, but I just want to comment on that, man, to kind of get your 2 cents in. I think that that's kind of the recipe that SWAC schools, they're going to have to start stepping out just a little bit, like you said, strategically scheduling schools that's probably in a rebuilding mode. So Texas, didn't nobody from Texas get drafted this past draft.
It was 10 Power 5 schools that didn't have a draft pick. It was Texas, Northwestern, Syracuse, Duke, Colorado, TCU. Who else am I missing? Vanderbilt. Who else? Vanderbilt, and I think it was 2 more other schools. Oh, Louisville. Louisville didn't have anybody, and West Virginia. So yeah, it was those Power 5 schools. They didn't have not one player get drafted. So the SWAC had more players than them.
I love you.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
I appreciate the call, SWAC, man. I appreciate it. It was a good combo.
All right, thank you.
All right. Yes, sir.
All right, caller, you live. Talk to me. Hello, caller, you live. Talk to me.
Hey, how you doing, brother? This is Chris giving you a call from San Antonio, Texas. How you doing, big time?
Hey, how you doing? First, let me say appreciate that Miss Gowdy and Miss Ivy too for the donation. Appreciate y'all. All right, you can go ahead, caller.
First, let me say. So here's the thing, man.
Hold on. One second. One second before you go. Turn the feed off in the background because it's gonna bounce back.
You still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. I was echoing at first, so I just want to make sure that you had the YouTube turned off in the background.
Okay, yeah, it's off right now, bro.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
So here's the thing, brother. For a guy who played at a junior college myself, as well as HBCU, I played at Langston up in Langston, Oklahoma. There's a few things that's going on here. I don't believe that on the HBCU level, we have to play at Power 5s just to get exposed or to get that check. Mm-hmm. In today's times with technology and ESPN, 1, 3, 8, you get where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
We're going to get notarized. We're going to get, we're going to get looked at. When we talk about Power 5s, people quick to say teams like Alabama and Clemson. What about the New Mexicos and the University of Hawaii's, the San Diego States, the UNLVs? Mm-hmm. I think that would be more logical and practical than just trying to play against these teams to get looked at because we have what it takes and we have the talent, right? Now, let's have that brief conversation. As far as the talent, at the skills position, the talent's equal. From an HBCU, whether it's Division II like Savannah State or Shaw, or Division I AA, like Alcorn State, at the skills position, the talent's about the same. What separates the HBCU from the quote-unquote Power 5s is the line play.
Yep.
The 3-star, 4-star, 5-star recruits that's going to Ohio State. I live in San Antonio, Texas, but I'm from Ohio. So that's the biggest difference. But as far as just playing those games to get a paycheck and get notarized, brother, man, I'm 100% against that because we don't need it. And if we do have to have it, why not a UNLV in Hawaii versus Ohio State and Texas, like you were saying, no one got drafted from?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think lower level FBS schools that can be good competitive games. That's what we need to schedule. Because there is a bias that exists there. There's nothing we can do about that. They have that bias because these people in these positions in the NFL and on these coaching staffs and these analysts, they come from these schools. They're alumni of these schools. So they automatically have that bias that, oh, we're the best, so what you do against us is what we're gonna really look at and appreciate. But I think if we schedule some lower level LBS schools, show out there, like the LSU versus Southern game, that's already scheduled. That's already in stone. It's already cemented. What I want Southern to do is really show up to their game and play well. I'm not expecting them to beat LSU. I'm not expecting that. But I want those boys to play like their lives depending on it, because this is their audition for the NFL. You put on in this game, you can be a second or third round pick,
And something with that right there, said you absolutely right. What I'm saying is, in today's times with all the, something that was just ESPN. We haven't even talked about Fox, right?
Yeah.
With all the channels nowadays and the outlets, the game is already scheduled, like you said, right? So we can't go back and renege on that, right? But
yeah.
with all the technology nowadays and streaming and all these channels, does Southern really have to play that game to get recognized or to even get a check? Like, seriously. And that's what I basically see this whole thing about. It's about getting that big game check, or about getting national exposure, and we simply don't need that. If you look at the history, bro, of the NFL, right, and I want anybody on this call right now to fact check me on this, because I could be misspeaking, okay? If you look at the history of the NFL, the trendsetters, Al Davis with Oakland Raiders, the Rooney family with the Steelers, even the Cowboys, I believe those three professional NFL teams, historically speaking, has always had the most HBCU players, right? Well, look at who I named: the Raiders, the Steelers, and the Cowboys. The pinnacles of NFL teams. Out of 32 teams, those are like some pinnacle top-tier teams.
Yeah.
Well, historically speaking, look at them HBCUs. So we've been doing it, but like the brother called before said, a lot of these people who draft these players, or that's in these front offices, came from Power 5 schools. So there's a indirect racial undertone there when it comes to, okay, let's get away from that. Well, why the hell would you get away from it when you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, who I think, if you fact check me on this, I believe it's the winningest, most Super Bowl rings in history of the NFL. They have a long history of HBCU players. So does the trendsetter himself, Al Davis, who stayed suing the NFL and winning. First black head coach, first black GM, HBCU players, and even the Dallas Cowboys, who in their heyday, bro, with their offensive line, fact check me on this, Eric Williams, he played at Central State, and Nate Newton played at FAMU. So even me being from Ohio, it's like, bro, who give a damn about a Big Ten or SEC? Look at what's being going on. Look at what's in the water. Look at Jerry Rice. Look at Robert Porsche. Look at Aeneas Williams. Look at the greatest L.A. Rams. Some people say it's
Let me say this real
Eric
quick.
Dickerson.
Callers, I'm gonna get to you. Callers that's on hold, don't hang up. I'm gonna get to you next. Go ahead. Finish your point up.
Some people say it's Eric Dickerson. Well, I would like to say it's Jackie Slater, right from Jackson State.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I'm going with this, man. We have to get back to basics, and we don't need all the extra. We don't need to schedule these big old schools and teams and all that good stuff, bro. We just keep going. Just stay the course. Coach Prime is doing good. The rest of America is catching on. And when that young man went to Jackson State, that's the way it should be. The best of our players, bro, should go to HBCUs, and the rest who ain't the best should go to these PWIs.
Right. I agree with you. But I just said the game's just already in stone. They have to really perform at those games, because it's pretty much an audition for the NFL. And we can't renege on those games. But I do agree that a school like Jackson State with Travis Hunter, they don't have to really play by those rules, because all the eyes are going to be on them because of Travis Hunter, and because Coach Prime is there, and because Coach Prime is recruiting. He's recruiting his team like he's at a Power 5. He's trying to get these big 5-star and 4-star linemen. He's shooting his shot at all these guys. He's trying to build his team like that. So what his plan is to go through the SWAC season and dominate everybody. He's trying to beat everybody by 50 to show how dominant his team is, so he don't have to play a Power 5 team, so everybody know, yeah, Jackson State is one of the best teams in the country. Like you're gonna have people saying crazy stuff like, "Oh, Jackson State could have beat this school," if they blow everybody out by 50. So that's gonna create the hype. It's gonna create the buzz around the program, and his players are gonna get NFL looks just because of that. So that's why I put Jackson State in another category. But for the other SWAC schools, I think I don't want to see them get blown out by these big-time Power 5 schools, but if they play some good competitive game against FBS schools, it does help the stock of their players because they're not going to have a spotlight that Jackson State players are going to have.
Something, you're right. You're right. And everything you said, I support. Now, we saw James Houston get drafted. That kid at Jackson State, what's his name, Miller, the linebacker, 45?
Aubrey Miller, yeah.
Now James Houston went in the 6th round. Family, I would be surprised if he go past the 4th round next year, and that receiver too. I will really be surprised. But hey, brother, I appreciate the time. I appreciate you for putting us on this platform, and everybody on the call who came after me, I apologize. I was wrong with them. I'm very passionate about us and HBCUs and getting the proper look from the NFL.
Yep. I appreciate the call.
Hey, you too, brother. Have a good one, man.
All right, thank you. You too. All right, Carl, I'm going to get to the next person. Hold on just a second. All right, Carl, you live. Talk to me. 601 number. Don't hang up. I'm going to get to you next. Go ahead, sir.
Yo, what's up? It's PNC King. So, yeah, you know what? Yeah, so I saw the draft, man. I was getting frustrated, man. I didn't know that boy, what was it, Joshua Williams came from a historical black college. Nobody was even talking about him. Well,
yeah, D2 one.
Fayetteville. So anyway, long story short, I think what we're really missing out on, the big story is that the general managers. We need to talk about the general managers. Mm-hmm. We got 6 black general managers in the NFL, and out of that 6, only 2 of them drafted players from historical black colleges. This whole thing about building up the programs and everything like that, the SWAC being a powerhouse, the MEAC surviving, it's not going to work unless these, black men in a position of power help one another out. I don't see why this is the big story. That is the story.
Yeah.
Out of the whole draft. The first 2 players that came off the board came from old boy from the Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Rams, the Kobe Durant, whatever his name.
Yeah, Kobe Durant, he went to the Rams.
Yeah. So those 2 players were drafted by GMs, white GMs.
Mm-hmm.
You got 6 black general managers, okay? I got them right here, man. You got Brad Holmes from Detroit. Then you have old boy who came from the Kansas City Chiefs. I believe it's I just got this up, man. Hold on. Give me a second. His name is I believe Ryan Polis. He came from Kansas City Chiefs with Chicago. And then you got this other dude, his acronym is CAM. I can't pronounce his name. He with Minnesota. He ain't draft nobody. Then you got Andrew Berry from the Browns. He ain't draft nobody. You got Mr. Martin Mayhew of MAYHEW with the Washington Commandos or Commanders, whatever. Then you got the Chris Greer. He's from the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Them brothers ain't draft no brothers from the historical black colleges.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I think we got to start calling them out. We have to use the power of social media to call them out on that. I'm surprised that guy from the Commanders didn't draft anybody because, he just seems like a down-to-earth brother. He seems like, that he just seems like he would do something like that. So I'm surprised that he didn't, but we just got to start putting the pressure on them. We got to start talking about this in the comments. These teams, they read the comments, y'all. Start saying this stuff in the comments. Start putting that pressure on them and change will come.
Yeah,
I'm
I
confident
just did a video and I shouted y'all name out, CFO podcast. SWAC Buzz. I know you put a lot of content out, Coach Simmons and the Blue Bloods and everything. Everybody missing the big story, and y'all got to put it out, man. I hope you do another video, this week and stuff like that. Just highlight that. But why is it that we claim racism and all this other stuff? But there ain't no unity, you know what I'm saying? We in positions of power. That's the position of power. Just cause they could have drafted. So I mean, all 6 of those brothers should draft at least one guy. They could have drafted at least one guy. And then you got like Glass or whatever like that. They drafted all these safeties and stuff like that. You talk about that dude from FAMU couldn't get drafted. You know what I'm saying? Just cause all these players, especially the corners, you got guys that were getting drafted that I don't even think they played. You had guys that was injured half the season coming from these other FBS schools and stuff like that. And I'm just like, man,
call the phone number 601. I'm gonna get to you next. All right, go ahead and finish up your point.
Yeah, I don't want to harp on it too much. But I think that should be the story. Hopefully other people be talking about it in the tweets and stuff like that. But, man, we got to call that out. It was on them to do that, you know what I'm saying? Because Deion Sanders put it out there. He stuck his neck out there, made a list. And it's no reason why, you got six black general managers and only 2 of them actually drafted players from historical black colleges. Especially you got all this. You had 2 FCS schools, the small schools that got drafted in the first round. You had 2 players drafted in the first round and stuff like that. You telling me you couldn't get an HBCU guy drafted earlier than that? You know what I'm saying? Especially the Kobe DeGrant and that Bell guy.
Yeah, but I appreciate the call.
The brothers couldn't support. All right,
but I appreciate the call. All right, thank you. All right, let me get to the next caller. Appreciate you for holding on. I know it's been a minute. All right, caller, you live. Talk to me.
Hey, what's going on, man? Thank you for taking my call, man.
All right.
I just wanted to come in on the draft and stuff, man, and bring up some points of what you all discussed. And from the caller from Ohio, made valid points. And the other time I called in with Mr. Ford. But, man, I'm glad you brought up racial bias and putting pressure on these guys, man, because I just feel like we're giving them too much credit to make us think that they're going to look the other way of their racial undertone that they're giving for Travis Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Because let me give you an example. You got Marquise Bell, and everybody that listens to us, we are listening to this great platform that you have. We all know that Marquise Bell was outstanding. Not only that we believe that he showed that in the camp. So you're telling me that 29 or 32 scouts came out there and some brought him 2 and 3 times and nobody could nod to give him the okay to be drafted? That's uncalled for. And so it makes me, understand the young man who wants to look in the transfer portal or land and basically say, hey, I see this guy who's a day one starter. And they treated him like he was a towel, thrower. Yeah. Or a clothes runner. It's like, oh my goodness, like why would you, out of all people who should have been drafted, and I'm not even a FAMU fan, but he should have been drafted. Same thing by Houston.
I agree.
He has the track record. He's played PWI and he's played HBCU. He's played both. And Ezra came from an HBCU, went to a big school, and he was the MVP of their national championship at Sam Houston. It's unheard of. And like I said, to give them the benefit to make us think that they're going to do something different from what they are. I believe in this. People show you who they are, believe them. Mm-hmm. And we it's just almost like it's an anomaly of how they drafted the guy from South Carolina State that plays for the Colts. And to think that they're going to do that for everybody else when they actually clearly had the valid point to do that this time. Yeah. Bell should not have went past the 3rd round. His caliber and his status showed that. And like I said, I like the point as well that you made about, us not having to play bigger schools. But the guy from Ohio made a great valid point about these TV networks. Got to have some type of way to get that contract, which is what I said previously, that I wish we can get all 4 of the HBCU conferences, make a Power 4, and for the Celebration Bowl will be our championship, because we can be just like North Dakota State. They don't play too many big people, and after a while, folks are afraid to play North Dakota State because they beat a couple of those big schools, and they said no more of that. Yeah. And those guys don't play big Power 5 schools, and they still get drafted high. So it's still there, and we know, just like, being a Mississippi native, the HBCU circle Hall of Famers around these Power 5 schools. So again, like I said, man, I just like what you said, bringing up racial bias and putting pressure on these guys, man, because I don't get them the benefit of the doubt to think that they're gonna look different than Travis Hunter, man. They'll scathe him just like they did Marquise Bell or the rest of these young.
I disagree with that point right there. I disagree with that point. I think Travis Hunter is another beast. I think when he comes out, I think Travis Hunter is so good, and these NFL teams have been watching him for a minute. They know that he's going to be a sure thing. I think if he wanted to sit out and just train with NFL trainers, he would still get drafted high. He's one of those. He's one of those generational talents. Yeah, he's one of those generational talents.
Yeah, I agree with you. Everybody listening to your show agree with that he has a talent. The problem is, if we agree that they have a racial undertone, people will do it on the benefit of the doubt. Because if you got a racial undertone, you're going to go and abide by that more than what the guy, just like what they did Marquise Bell. They know for a fact, even though he's an elite caliber, but we can get him basically for coins. Because they knew he was a late second, early third round pick. And like I said, I don't see them doing no different from with Travis, because even though we know he's a day one starter, he's really a top 5 pick. We know that. But again, the racial undertone will allow them to overlook the talent, because they've done it several times before. And just like I say,
I agree with you. I see what you're saying, but I think it depends on the player. I think Travis Hunter, if teams skipped out on drafting Travis Hunter, it's gonna be some folks getting fired. Like you don't make that mistake. You losing your job if you miss out on Travis Hunter. I don't care what school he played for. If you miss out on a talent like that, if he goes in the SWAC and be making interception and touchdowns all through the game, all through the seasons that he played, and you skip out on that, something wrong with you. You probably gonna get fired and lose your job. So.
And I'm agreeing with you. I'm hoping, man. When I tell you, I'm hoping that's the case. But again, I cannot not believe people, but who they are. And again, we know. And just like the caller before was talking about, is 6 GMs that are black. All your kinfolk ain't your kinfolk neither. And two, we don't know how those guys, when it comes to their pull or connection, because a lot of them know that their job is like a yo-yo. It can bounce up and down. It don't depend on how strong the string is. So again, like I said, I'm hoping, like you hope, that they basically let this guy, because he really is a first-round draft pick. To me, Travis should be drafted higher than Deion's son. To me, but again, like I said, I hope so, but I can only go by how they are. And what they've shown me is that, like I said, Mark Davis is not Al Davis. The original Rooney is how he was, but the Rooney's now that they're not the same. You have people, and they as much stuff changes, stay the same in the same way. And so again, some of these people are still with their racial undertone, and we know for a fact Marquise Bell should have been drafted high. Houston as well. Right. But like I say, man, I appreciate you, man, taking my call, and I'm hoping for the best for all these young men.
All right, thank you for the call.
All right.
Willington O said he's just a freshman, Buzz. Give him some time. I'm giving him time, but I'm just saying if he dominates the SWAC in all his 3 years, it's no question you're gonna get fired if you don't draft him. All right, let me get this other call. Hold on, y'all. All right, caller, you live. Talk to me.
SWAC, this is TJ from Jackson, Mississippi.
What's going on,
and
TJ?
I want to say, how you doing, man? Listen, I want to say one thing. We got to stop falling for the okadoke. The okadoke is we need to be playing Power 5 schools. And yesterday, when Walter Payton, Brazil, when Jackie Slater came out, they wasn't playing Power 5. They got recognized. And the bottom line is, the GMs want us to believe that we need to be playing all these. That's nothing but okadoke. What we have to do is find one thing, get our young players back in. Our strong 5 stars and stuff to come back to our universities, and they'll get recognized.
I think your phone is breaking up.
We don't need to fall for the okie-doke. We need to take these Power 5s on and these FBS schools to get recognized. No, because they recognized us in the past, and I think it's a failure on the NFL not to SWAC.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's the NFL's fault because we have the players that need to go high in these drafts because we have talented players. But what I think is if we have our 5-star athletes coming to HBCUs, then those rules go out the window because these players have been players that these teams and these scouts have been looking at for a long time. Just like Travis Hunter has been a player that's been on their radar for a long time at these all-star games and things like that. He's been dominating. So when he comes out, they're going to already be prepared to take him top 5. So we have players like that coming back to HBCUs, which I don't understand why they wouldn't. If I'm a 5-star athlete, I'm one of the top players in the country. I'm going to a HBCU because I'm in a small pond. I'm a big fish in a small pond. I'm finna go put up godly numbers, and I'm going to have my name all over the news, all over everywhere, and I'm going to go to the NFL from an HBCU. I'm going to be a legend on the HBCU level. I'm going to be a legend. Everybody's going to know my name in the black community. That's what I would want personally. I would want that kind of clout. I wouldn't just want to be another person going to a Power 5 or another black kid going to a Power 5 going to the NFL. I want that clout of being an HBCU legend and being, an icon in the black community. That's just me personally. I would want that kind of clout. But I'm like, my mindset is different from these other guys. And I think that's what Travis Hunter wants. So that's why he came to Jackson State.
Well, also, let's go back a little bit more. When Walter Payton came out, now he was I want to say should have been rated for the Heisman because of the exposure. They chose what's his name? I can't think of the kid's name, but anyway, he didn't do anything in the NFL. Never did stick around. But Walter Payton was there, put up the numbers, showed that he could compete.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all the other SWAC players that's don't come out that has went up there and competed. I think it's a fault of the NFL because the bottom line behind it, they not recognizing talent.
Okay.
See, that's the thing. They're not recognizing the talent that's there.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say, Archie Griffin. That's the guy that won this Heisman 2 years in a row. They took it from Walter Payton and gave it to him, and that boy didn't do nothing in the NFL, didn't represent nothing.
Okay.
He fell by the wayside. But you got the Slaters that played 20-some-odd years. You got Dr. Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Them guys didn't have no exposure.
But see, you'll have people that will come back with that and say that was years ago. This is a new time. The SEC is all powerful right now. Back then in those days, the SEC was scared to play HBCUs because they'll get smashed. They knew that. So they'll say, well, now it's totally different.
I don't care where you are, sir.
I don't care where you are. I'm just telling you what they would come back and say. I agree with you. Talent is talent. But at the same time, we have to really put pressure on these NFL teams to stop being biased towards these Power 5 teams and looking down on HBCUs and really giving our players a fair look. But I got another call. I appreciate you calling. Make sure you keep tuning into the show. I appreciate the call.
Have a good night, young man.
All right.
Have a good night.
Yep.
All right.
What's going on, caller? You live? Talk to me.
What's up, Swag? This is J Love. I'm calling back again, man. Because I'm trying to, and I want to get your opinion about it.
Yeah.
Why are they using the word racism when it comes down to the NFL draft? Like, I hear some callers calling in, and they saying that it's a racial undertone going on. I mean, do they not realize that the NFL is 75% black? I mean, did they not realize 9 out of the first 10 picks in the NFL? was it 8 out of the first 10 picks from 1 through 10, 8 of them were black people, were black men. So, like, why are they using the word racial undertone when it comes down to this? Explain that to me, because I heard you engage in conversation.
So what I'm thinking they're saying is, those 8 players that you're just talking about, they came from white schools. They said they'll take these players when they play for them, but when they play for us, they want to get us on the cheap. So that's their argument. They're saying, and
okay, all right, okay, yeah, okay, I'll buy that.
So what we're saying?
I didn't mean to cut. I'll go ahead.
What we're saying is we have to put pressure on these GMs, these people in the front office, to start hiring black coaches. Start hiring more black coaches from the HBCU ranks, and giving students from HBCUs internships. A lot of stuff like that helps. You know what I'm saying? Putting HBCU people in their pipeline to be in their organizations, so they can turn that bias off that they have, because most of the people that work in these organizations are from these Power 5 schools. So they think that, okay, Power 5 is the best. If you didn't pay a Power 5, you ain't really doing nothing. You have so many people online. I argue with people all the time on Twitter about this. Like, they just have that bias where they think, okay, if you're not playing from a Power 5 school, your schedule is nothing. Like, your school is nothing. And we have to really put pressure on these teams to start hiring black coaches, start hiring black people, so we can knock those doors down, and so they won't have those biases anymore. But it's gonna be there. You're not gonna change the system. You're not gonna change the system overnight. It's gonna take time. But like I said, with Coach Prime being at Jackson State, with him knowing the people that he knows, with Hugh Jackson knowing the people that he knows, it's gonna start to change over time.
Yeah, okay. Well, I appreciate you clearing that up for me, SWAC. I just want to get that touch that base and just see where everybody was coming from on that point. But it makes sense to me. I'll buy that. I appreciate that, SWAC.
All right. Thank you for the call.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me get the next caller. Hold on just a second. All right, caller, you live. Talk to me. Hello.
How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on?
All right, man. My name is Randy, man. It's just, like I'm, listening. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. I'm just, I got a couple points in regards to the, like I'm getting an echo.
I don't hear echo.
I'm sorry, but. Okay.
So if you have the stream on, you need to turn the stream off, like, while you're talking on the call.
Did.
Okay, yeah. You should be good then.
Okay. I just think it's just a matter of these schools, like weight rooms and, like all the bells and whistles, because, a kid that comes from, like these athletes that come from these low class incomes, they want to upgrade. I think as soon as the HBCU schools start to upgrade their fields, their facilities, all that stuff, it will be no problem with these kids going to these schools.
Yeah, your phone is breaking up, caller. Yeah, something was going on with his phone, y'all. Let me get to the next caller. What's going on, caller? You live? Talk to me.
Yeah, something was going on with his phone, y'all. Let me get to the next caller.
Hello?
What's going on,
caller, you live?
Hey, all right, how you doing, man?
Doing great. Make sure you cut the stream off so it won't echo in the background.
Hello? Caller, you live?
Okay. Is it down now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you good to go.
Okay. Talking about the draft, I think one of the problems with the draft is that we have to get more TV exposure. No doubt about it. And we're going to have to play a better out-of-conference schedule. No Power 5, but mid-majors, because there's a lot of talent. and because these guys are not getting looked at. You look at the SEC, they have their own network. ACC, a lot of these schools have their own network. So when I think we can get more exposure from the TV. I think that'll help a lot.
That's true.
What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think, that helps as well, like us getting the exposure, getting better cameras, like our games and highlights need to be crisp. They need to look professional,
I agree 100%.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've seen from certain schools, their cameras kind of look outdated. Their camera shots look outdated. So we need to, sometimes we got to learn from these other conferences. Hey, go to somebody that's in communications or, that's doing the camera work for these SEC schools. Hey man, what kind of equipment y'all use? Hey man, what y'all do? We got to get that. We got to get that game from them. Do it and see what they're doing and bring it back to the SWAC and do it. Put that in the budget. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, ask the alumni for donations. So y'all can buy their camera equipment. So when Valley has a game, you see their highlights. They put their highlights out. They look clean and crisp. So when a scout wants to look at the games or the highlights, they look good. You don't want it to look like a high school film. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want it to look like that. So I think that's something that we really need to really make a point in changing.
Right, and with the Travis Hunter thing, we have to. I hope we be very careful not to push him too fast. It's a lot different from high school to college, and with this transfer portal, I do think the SWAC is going to be an upgrade, no doubt about it, and that's why I say the players in SWAC are going to be much better, and I'm hoping that Oprah Winfrey, since she own, maybe she can put on a game of the week. I mean, can you imagine you seeing Alabama A&M and Alabama State or Alcorn and Jackson State? Because they're going to pack the stadium or Southern and Jackson State, So if they just picked us, game of the week, we just had one. Let's start off with one game of the week. I think that'll be a plus.
Yeah, you also have to think about your market too when you're going with OWN. Who watches OWN? Are young people that's into sports or people that's into sport watching OWN? Or is that more of a female demographic that's watching that network? So you have to kind of go with what works. Now, what my personal opinion, what I think the SWAC need to be trying to get with Apple TV, trying to get on that app, their streaming service, trying to create a deal with them, because I think they're going to be the app in the future that's going to be really big, like Netflix. So I think they need to jump on their horse and try to get with Apple TV. That's what I would do.
I was too, and I missed some of the draft, but did anybody from the SWAC get drafted? Glass or Houston?
Oh yeah, James Houston went to the Lions. Ja'Tai Carter from Southern, he went to the Bears. Jacoby Durant from South Carolina State, he went to the Rams. And Joshua Williams, he's from a HBCU D2 school, Fayetteville State. He went first. He was the first HBCU athlete pick. He went to the Chiefs. And so
did the cornerback from South Carolina State get drafted?
Yeah, he went to the Rams.
Rams. Okay, I think that'll be a good pickup, and nobody picked up Glass.
Yeah, he's gone to Tampa Bay for a trial, camp invite.
Yeah, we have a lot of SWAC guys going for invites. We already know that it'll be a lot. But I think this season is going to be very interesting. Like I say, I think that with the transfer portal, I think you're going to see a lot of improvement in HBCU football, because these kids are not going to be going to Alabama sitting on the bench 2 or 3 years. And did you hear anything about
call at 843? I'm gonna get to you next. Go ahead. What was your question?
My question, and I wanted to get your opinion. I have my own opinion about Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney. Them, they don't like the transfer portal. I think I know why, but I wanted to get your input on that.
They don't like the transfer portal because it gives the player freedom to leave whenever they want to. They want to have the ability to have these players in the stockpile. They don't want a player to not play. They want to have their depth. You know, they don't want to lose their depth on the bench because the player is mad that he doesn't want that he can't play, so he's just gonna enter the transfer portal and go somewhere else. They don't want that. They want to be able to have that depth on the bench. That's all that is.
And I hope the NCAA. I hope if they try to push this, I hope they fight. I hope they put up a big fight against this because, just a man, we would never saw James Houston.
Yeah.
If things would have stayed the way they were.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, I just wanted to call in and say, man, good show. Keep up the good work, man, and just keep doing what you're doing, and hope we can get this network like you said. That'll be a big plus.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, man.
All right. Let me get to the next caller. Caller 504, you're next after this call. All right, caller, you live on the air. Talk to me.
Good evening. I've been a long South Carolina State University football fan since the 70s. With
NC State in the house.
The draft and NFL talent. I believe it comes down to talent. I don't want to say that the NFL is inherently biased or racist. I won't quite say go that far with it because, as previous callers said, most of the players in the NFL, 75% of them are black. Mm-hmm. So if we
let me say this real quick, and for people that are saying that the NFL is biased or racist, there would be those to push back and say, well, Texas didn't get any draft picks. Y'all got more draft picks than Texas, and they one of the most popular white schools in the country. So you'll have people push back and say things like that.
I heard that Texas didn't have. So I think then economics, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And again, being a South Carolina State fan, we know we've sent guys to the NFL for the past 7 seasons in a row, and it's based on, I think, talent. And then, of course, you have black players from these PWI schools. So what we say to them, if you guys will come to these HBCU schools, you're not worthy of being drafted by the NFL, or I don't quite understand that term of racist or bias. I know it's out there, but I don't think it's intentional. Let me put it like that. Now these GMs get their paychecks from the owners.
Yeah.
Okay. And they have to base their decisions on what the owners tell them to do. So I don't want to per se put the pressure on them saying you have to draft players from the HBCUs. But at the same token, hopefully it's a level playing field. The young man from FAMU, I was shocked that he didn't get drafted. But again, it's based on economic skill levels, positions that's available on certain teams, and they're looking for certain positions. They're going to draft. Quarterbacks didn't get drafted until the second round for the first quarterback to go. So I think it's based on position. Positions, skill levels, and a number of things that I don't know what goes into draft picks. I just want to mention that to you and see what your opinion on that is.
Well, I think the bias that you're speaking of, we could say that. Do I think there's racist people in the NFL, in the NFL office? I do. I think there are some people that may be racist that work for the NFL. That have that bias. But I think the bias that comes in is when these people, they went to these schools. They went to these Power 5 schools. So in their mind, our schools are the cream of the crop. We're the top. We're the best. And so they look at smaller schools. It's not even just HBCUs. They look at smaller white schools like they're nothing. So they automatically assume, okay, if you're not playing us, you're not big time. You're not playing. They call it big time football. That right there tells you what they think. They call their schools big time. You're playing the big boys. So they pretty much saying the other schools are small guys. So what I think is we have to get more people from these quote unquote smaller schools or HBCUs to be in the office of these NFL franchises so they can kind of, combat that bias that exists because all these other alums from these Power 5s are working for the NFL now, so I think that's going to help it. But I think the talent is there.
About playing FCS schools, Division I schools is what I call them. Mm-hmm. On our schedule this year, our first game is with the University of Central Florida. And then we play Bethune-Cookman, and then we play North Carolina A&T, then we play the University of South Carolina. So you have 2 Power 5 schools on our schedule this year.
Yeah.
So I believe that has a little bit to do with it, too. These guys play these schools. They do their very best. They shine, i.e. Jacoby Durant. Darius Leonard had a very good game with Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
He got look-see. So after that happened, these guys were noticed. So, again, I think we have to play out of our FCS level and schedule these schools. Even though they're money games, there's still opportunity for these young men to really showcase their talent.
And that's one thing why South Carolina State puts players in the draft every year. You know, they're doing what I'm talking about. You know,
yes, sir.
They're playing these big schools to get their players the looks that they know these biased people that come from these big schools will want to see those games, you know. So they're using that to their advantage. Coach Pugh is using that to their advantage. Like, okay, y'all want to see us play them? All right, we're going to play them, and you're going to see our boys put on. You're going to see our boys get 2 picks like Jacoby Durant did against Clemson, and, you know, he go 4th round. So they're using that to their advantage. Now, like a school like Jackson State, they have Coach Prime, they have all the exposure, so they don't really have to play by those rules. But a school like FAMU would be good at doing what South Carolina State is doing, you know. Now,
but again, for Jackson State, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
But them not playing these Power 5 schools showed up in the Celebration Bowl somewhat.
I think that Celebration Bowl game was Jackson State was so high on themselves. They was feeling themselves. They thought they were just about to come in and smash South Carolina State, and they got punched in the mouth. You know, They got shocked. They got punched in the mouth, and South Carolina State didn't let up. Because if you remember that game, in the beginning, it looked like Jackson State was about to run away with it. Then South Carolina,
after the first touchdown, our quarterback couldn't get out of a bond. It was looking kind of rough until the very end of the second quarter when we finally got our bearings right.
And if you
don't want to hop on that game, but I read a lot of comments that we were given a short field. But if you got the number 1 defense in the country in FCS football, why not let us score field goals instead of touchdowns? Enough said about that. Anyway,
during that game, I want to make this point. During that game, South Carolina, in the beginning, in the first quarter, they looked like they thought they was going to get blown out. You know, they had kind of had that body language. And then they scored. They got a turnover. They scored. Then they got another turnover, and they scored. They was like, oh, hold up. They ain't ready. Jackson State ain't ready for this game. And then they just put it on Jackson State. So I think that's what happened. But props to South Carolina State. They have a great football program. And, you know, it's a blessing for us to have an HBCU school like that with a program like that. I have a lot of respect for Coach Pugh. He putting guys in the NFL, you know, so they have a lot to be proud of at South Carolina State.
Thank you so much. I enjoy your show. I try to catch you guys as often as possible. And again, you have a very good show, very good content, and I'll keep up the good work.
All right, thank you. Thank you for the call. All right, let me get this other caller. What's going on, caller? You live?
Hello?
Yeah, you live. Talk to me.
Oh, man, I just called to the draft grades on the HBCU players. They went where they was gonna go. The draft grades I had on those players went from the 5th to the 7th round. These guys from Fayette State, he went in the 4th round. These guys from South Carolina State, he went in the 4th round. Mm-hmm. But the guys I had on this book, the SWAC, of the Jackson State linebacker, he went in the 6th round. The Southern guy went in the 7th round.
Yep.
That boy from Florida State, he from FEU, FMU.
Yeah, you telling us what we already know. We know where all the picks went.
He didn't get drafted. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in
Go ahead. Yeah.
Right. I've been in this game for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
I just recently had a stroke.
Okay.
I've had
Sorry to hear that.
Picks. All right. It don't make no difference. The school you play, they not drafting the school. They drafting the individual. All right. Fairfield State, they don't play nobody. Southeastern, they beat FAMU. The only player they had to go in the draft is Coach Kelly. Is a free agent. All right. The boy from Alabama A&M. He was no draft pick. The trigger man. He went as a free agent to Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
But the boy from class, he would have went back into 2010, but now the quarterbacks have to have movement. You've got to be able to scramble. All right. But the player I had on the board, Kentarius Cole, he went to Louisville, and he transferred to Louisville. He got a free agent offer this year, but he would have stayed at Alcorn. He would been drafted 7th round, but
okay. I think your phone might have cut out, brother.
I quit talking for you to answer me.
My bad, brother. I think we lost the call. My brother had a stroke, so I give him a chance to get his thoughts out. So a lot of people talking about the way he was talking. The brother had a stroke. I'm not biased over here. I'm gonna let all our brothers, all our sisters get their thoughts out. And props to that brother. But I lost your call. My bad. But to answer your question, I honestly don't even remember what you was talking about. You had me so kind of confused, brother. But appreciate the call and respect to you, brother. I think everybody know how you feel. You feel that, these kids, they don't need to go to these Power Fives. They don't need to do all this. And that it's all up to the individual to get seen by the NFL. I think that's the gist of what you were saying. And to a point, I agree. Like with this Fayetteville State kid, I think that he had the measurables when he went to the NFL Combine. The way he moved at that size, and he has those long arms. I think he showed the NFL team that he has a lot of potential. So they drafted him on potential. But yeah, props to that brother. Props to him. Yeah, the phone lines are open. Phone number 657-390-4814. Y'all want to call in? Y'all can call in. We've been rolling hour and 35 minutes now. S-Class, don't do that. Nah, I didn't do that. The phone call dropped. The phone call dropped. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do nothing like that, All right, let me get this call, y'all. Hold on. All right, call you live. Talk to me.
What's up, man? This is Jay from Austin.
What's going on, Jay?
I just wanted to say, I think Jackson State, I think they have a lot of momentum now. I think this solidified that having a player drafted, 2 guys getting picked up for signing undrafted free agent contracts, and 1 going to getting invited to a rookie camp.
Mm-hmm.
I think that looks great for a first-year coach. And out of the FCS, that looks amazing. I think Southern looks good right now, but I honestly feel like Jackson State's players, the Nuggets, the Boldens, the Aubreys, they probably have so much momentum going into next year. Because the real difference is Nugget and Bolden are both over 6 foot, and they both ran 4 threes in front of the scouts. They have the NFL size. And when Joshua got picked, the people on TV were saying, hey, what makes him different than the other small college guys is he's long, and you have to have something that sets you apart to get out of the FCS level. And I feel like there's a bunch of Jackson State players now with Gaddy and who have the size to get out. And as long as they dominate, I think those guys are getting picked up. And I think Southern is looking good right now. FAMU, I'm kind of nervous about because they might be a little discouraged since their best player didn't get picked up, and now Land wants to transfer out. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think he should stay, man. I would not, if I was him, if I was in his ear, I would tell him to stay at FAMU. You're the best player on that team. Everybody knows your name. You know, just go in, do work, put on. And when y'all play, I want to say they play North Carolina. When y'all play North Carolina, you need to ball. Let them see how good of a player you are. And he's gonna go in the NFL. I think he's gonna be fine. I think he should stay at FAMU, but I'm pretty sure somebody probably got in his ear. He probably was seeing that Marquise Bell didn't get drafted, and he probably just automatically assumed like, man, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and make this jump up so I can really get the looks that I want. You know, so that's probably what it was.
All right, man, and that's all I wanted to say, man. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you for the call. All right. The phone lines are open if you want to call 657-390-4814. If you disagree with anything, you can call in, let everybody know why you disagree. You know, all opinions can be said on this channel. You know, I don't censor anybody. You know, as long as you come in respectfully, you don't be cursing and doing all the crazy stuff, you good to go. What y'all talking about in the comments? FAMU will always be okay. They got talent. They recruit Jacksonville. Only school that recruits Jacksonville better is Florida. I mean, FAMU should have some great players because there's a lot of great players come out of Florida. So, and Willie Simmons is a great coach, man. So, I think he should have no problem getting Florida kids. All HBCUs that play non-HBCUs need to ball out and show out. Yeah. When they play North Carolina, they got to show out, man. FAMU need to show out against North Carolina. Southern, when y'all play LSU, you know, we're not expecting y'all to win. We're not expecting y'all to beat LSU. But we do expect y'all to put on and try to make the game competitive. You know, at least for 3 quarters. So I think when we play these outside schools, our players need to go in this thing like, this is the game of my life. This is my audition for the NFL. You need to be acting like you're at an NFL training camp and you're auditioning to make an NFL team. That's the kind of mentality that you need to have when you go play when you go play LSU and when you go play North Carolina. FAMU needs to recruit South GA. They have beasts down there. Well, somebody said something about Shadur in the draft when his time comes. You know what I think, y'all? I think when Shadur comes out, I think they're going to make that whole draft about him. It depends on who's coming out that year as far as quarterbacks, but the NFL is about making money. They're about making money, and they know having Shadur Sanders, Deion Sanders, they bring clicks. They bring clicks and views. So they may make that whole draft about Deion Sanders and his son. I wouldn't be shocked if they did something like that. It depends on who's coming out, though. If they have some great quarterbacks, some Heisman quarterbacks coming out, then Shedeur might get overshadowed. But if it's like a weak quarterback draft like this year, I think Shedeur they'll probably try to make him, the face of that draft just so they can make money. But I got a call. Let me get this call. What's going on? Call you live. Talk to me.
Yeah, I had a few questions. So I think we got to be honest. Just say in fantasy land, if the top 200 recruits one year all go to HBCUs, would they still get the same shot at getting drafted in the early rounds as if they went to FBS Power 5 schools?
Now, repeat that. You said you asked me a question. You're asking me, do I think that the top players going to Power 5 schools will get the same looks at HBCUs if they went to HBCUs?
Yeah, just a fantasy in the alternative world. If all the top recruits, like somebody said, they all went to HBCUs instead of being leftovers and say, all right, I'm going to wait till something go wrong and then I'm going to come back when everything will go wrong. Then I'm going to look down on Power 5s. If they came out while they were hot?
Oh yeah, of course. If that happened, which those Power 5 schools, they're gonna throw all kinds of money at these players so that it won't happen, and they're scared that it's gonna happen. They don't want a bunch of Travis Hunters. They want to make sure Travis Hunter is a one-off. That's why they trying to change these rules in the NCAA, because Travis Hunter has them shook. If you have too many Travis Hunter guys coming out, 5-star top players going to HBCUs, that's going to put all the spotlight on HBCUs, which is going to, throw more money into HBCUs, which is going to make these businesses, these streaming platforms want to give HBCU conferences deals, and then you're going to see the level field starting to level, where the playing field starting to level. So they don't want that. They don't want that at all.
Yeah, changes the whole power dynamic. So my point is this. That proves my point. Even if these top players went, I think that it's not going to be in front of our face, but we got to think the NCAA probably got some type of agreement with the NFL and these other professional leagues, because it's a feeder system. It's just the same thing as, I know most of us come from the inner city or the hood. How many people we know that was athletes that got scholarships to Catholic schools and stuff like that? It's the story of this country. As soon as they see talent or something they could benefit off of somebody like of black or other culture, they throw the money at it. So I don't think it has nothing to do with the competition level, because that's just relative. You could say SWAC schools ain't competitive, but if you look at it, the SWAC is probably the most historic or best conference overall in FCS compared to other schools. All these other schools just now getting good. We always had good players and good games that sold well, and teams that beat FBS. So I think it's all relative. It's just how you fit the narrative and how you talk about it. Even in term Power 5, just saying that makes it seem like, oh, these are like the almighty. It can never, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's just a matter of shifting perspective.
Yeah, I agree. What I will say is, when it comes to being biased and things like that, one thing that people would look over being biased about, they would look over that for money. It's all about money. They care about green more than they care about their skin color. So if they see a player that they can take in a draft at a HBCU that's going to make them money, they're going to take that player. Bias aside.
That's my point. It changes the power dynamic. Like what you said, it's not about the players. They can find players. It's players they ain't played in years that they can, they're still staying in shape and stuff like that. It's about where the money will flow. Like what you said, they don't want a bunch of Travis Hunters, because that would screw up the whole power dynamic. That's my point. So that's why I'm like, what happened today is not disappointing or is not surprising to me. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, even with the bias that exists in the system that exists, you're gonna have those people that work in these offices that are gonna go rogue and do what they want to do to keep their job. So they're not going to be caring about all this money funneling into HBCUs or anything like that. If they see a player that they can play, that they can pick, and he can bring money into their organization and get them to keep their job, they're gonna pick that player.
You don't think the NCAA put the fix in if they got the top 200 recruits committing to majority HBCUs?
They could try. It's their system, so they can do things and change rules and move things around to try to hurt it, try to stop those things from happening. But like I said, those NFL teams care about money. They don't give a damn about the NCAA. Okay, y'all can have y'all system and y'all can have y'all Power 5 schools and all this and other kind of stuff like that. Y'all can try to get all these players to come to y'all school and make money, blah, blah, blah. But if I see a player at HBCU that's a superstar that's going to make me some money, I don't give a damn about y'all NCAA dudes being in cahoots with y'all. I'm going to pick that player and I'm going to make my money off him. And I'm going to keep my job. That's what they care about.
Fair enough. I think it's more about publicity because how do we know, just like somebody was saying with Jackson State, the momentum, how do we know that these are the best players, or are these not just the most publicized players? Because we always see as a gem, like the kid from South Carolina State. I knew nothing about him, number one, but he was out there baking, and I bet you he's on a target list now. So it's just a matter. I don't know. I'm just one of people. I think a lot of stuff is publicity, and if you hear people name enough, or if you the way you talk about it enough, it's like it gets in your head that it's better than what it is. So. But that's just I just wanted to put that out there to get people talking and chats and stuff, and just not to be so surprised about things because it all adds up.
All right, thank you for the call.
All right, man.
All right. Willie to Oates, I see that comment. He said, "What if Coach Prime gets Archman?" You know what that happened? They're gonna be mad at that. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, they'll be mad at that if that happens. But no, Archman ain't coming to an HBCU. He probably gonna go to. I actually think he might go to Virginia Tech. A lot of people saying that he won't go, but I think he looking at Virginia Tech seriously. Christopher says, "Look what happened with Steve McNair. He was drafted in the first round." Yeah. If they can make money, they're gonna pick those players. They care about money over anything else. Shadur has time, but as a pocket passer in his junior and senior season, he has through godly numbers. I think in the offense that Shadur is in, he's gonna throw a lot of touchdowns. And like I said, the NFL cares about money. If they see that he's one of the most popular players in college football, the junior season that he comes out, he's gonna get publicity. Just like Trey Lance, they had Trey Lance everywhere. And he played in North Dakota State. So I think with him being Deion's son, and them being able to make money off that Sanders name and just get all the publicity, get people wanting to watch, Deion Sanders on TV and watch his son, get drafted and things like that. I think they would definitely try to capitalize off the Sanders name. Exactly, SWAC. That is what kills them. They're racist. They would draft a player that they think can help their team, which keeps their job and makes them money. I disagree. NFL is anti-HBCU too because their leadership connected to NCAA and PWI network. Call in new season. Call in and let people know what you think. Do I think there are biased people in the NFL? Yes, of course. But like I said, a racist man to do business with a black person if they can make money. Y'all do business with racist people all the time. Some of y'all working with racist people every day. But because they can make money, guess what? They okay with working with you. So that's what I'm saying. They like money over anything else. If a tall white player goes to HBCU, he would have hella NIL deals. I agree with that. Angie, appreciate you for becoming a member. Thank you for that. McNair should have won Heisman, but they wouldn't let that happen because he went to a HBCU. Yeah, that's true. He should have won that year. No, Arch Manley is going to an HBCU. Keep it. Y'all are clowning. If y'all want to call in, the phone lines are open. I'll take a couple of more calls. Phone number 657-390-4814. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure y'all hit that like button so more people can see the stream. I want people that disagree with what's been said on the platform. I want y'all to call in. You know, we want to hear that perspective. We don't want just one perspective. We want to hear, you know, what y'all think as well. That would be hilarious, and then see him behind Shador. Yeah, they'll ride if that happens. They'll run they'll get on Deion for doing something like that. If there is an exodus of top black players to HBCUs, now that one rare diamond player, the NFL and NCAA will stop it. Yeah, they'll change the rules up. Let me tell you, Travis Hunter got them shook. Walter Payton should have won the Heisman. Archie Griffin was a bust. Coach Prime would never recruit Arch Man as long as Shador is there. We all know, man, it would never. We just saying that if you think they mad now, they will go crazy. Yeah, man, but like I said, I give this draft a C grade. I really think we got to have a better showing next year because you got the HBCU Combine, you got the HBCU Legacy Bowl. I think that helped get them contracts after the draft. You know, because you've seen so many players getting contracts. You see Triggerman from Alcorn, he's working out with the Browns. And I think a lot of that had to do with Deshaun Watson because he worked out with Deshaun Watson as well. So I'm pretty sure Deshaun Watson put a bug in the coach's ear like, hey, check out that guy from Alcorn, you know, bring him in for a camp invite. So making connections, it matters. I'll take Andrew Body over Arch. What's going on, B Fresh? Mr. Ford called in earlier. Yeah, Mr. Ford was in here earlier. You know, it's late, so he had to handle his business and get ready for tomorrow. But like I said, the phone lines are open, 657-390-4814. Make sure you hit that like button to get the stream out. I cover SWAC content over here, so you like this kind of content, like and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate y'all tuning in. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I give this draft a C grade. We could do better. It's a good start. It's a good start. I think Jackson State program is really coming up. You've seen all these players going to these NFL teams for camp visits. They're getting signed on undrafted free agent contract. That's a big thing. FAMU, I really hope Isaiah Land stays at FAMU. I do not want to see him go, but I know that draft, him seeing that draft and Marquise Bell not being drafted, I'm pretty sure that scared him. But I just hope somebody get in his ear and tell him, you know, hey man, just go ahead and stay. Go ahead and stay and tough it out. And I think he would get what he's looking for and more if he stayed at FAMU. They signed free agency contract, not invites. Some of them had invites. Levi. Yeah, some of the HBCU players had invites. Some of them had contracts. Like Corbin has a contract, and Marquise Bell has a contract. Felix Harper, he has an invite. Akil Glass has an invite. So they don't have contracts. I think the other kid from Florida A&M, I think he has a contract as well. Edwin Moore, JSU isn't the only HBCU with drafted players and signed players. You see me talking about all the other HBCUs. What are you talking about? I haven't heard about Warren Newman yet. Yeah, I haven't heard about Warren Newman. And that kid from Texas Southern, man, that kid from Texas Southern has all the measurables. So I'm hoping that he gets signed on with somebody. I haven't read about him getting signed on yet. What about CJ? Yeah, I think CJ got signed on with somebody. The Saints, I believe. Yeah, he's going to the Saints camp. I'm not 100% sure if it's a contract or if it's a camp invite. But let me get this call real quick, y'all. Hold on just a second. All right, caller, you live. Talk to me.
Hey, what's up, SWAC?
What's going on?
Nah, you just said just call in. Just if you disagree with anything,
yeah.
Anything I disagree with, I agree with most of what everybody's saying. Only thing I'll say is just like I don't understand why we just don't accept that the NFL is just a racist institution. I didn't watch the NFL. I haven't watched it in years. There's enough of a sample size for us to understand that although the player base
can you kind of speak up a little bit for me?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's much better. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, although the player base might be 75% black and they might draft players from lower levels here and there or from the FCS level, the power structure remains the same. So they might do business with you on an individual basis, but the power structure is always in their favor. And it's always going to show preference for people who play by their rules and go through their system. So even if they're making money with you, it's going to be a marquee sell situation to where we'll just get you for cheap because we have a system that'll let you go undrafted, and then we can get you when you should have been a top four in the top 4 rounds.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they'll do business with you money-wise and things like that, but you're always going to be playing under their power structure to where they're the people in control. And that's what, if you look at these college coaches, if you even look at these fans, that's what they hate. They fear the loss of that power structure, of that power, to where Nick Saban doesn't like the fact that I don't have complete control over these kids. These institutions don't like that Travis Hunter is going outside of that power structure and challenging you. And so they make points. They make small points like James Houston. We're going to show his Florida highlights. We're going to draft him in the 6th round where his spot isn't guaranteed on the roster. Things like that. So I'm not saying I accept the NFL as a racist institution. I don't have that benefit of the doubt that maybe other people have. I think it's going to take, like you said, a long time. Long time. But I think to bring the talent in to where collectively we can put that pressure to where, like, when Travis Hunter comes out and if him and Shedeur come out at the same year, that's another thing where you can make the whole draft about now what.
Well, Shedeur's going to come out before him.
Go ahead.
I said Shedeur's going to come out before him. A year
but
before
the thing
him.
is, if I'm Shedeur, honestly, I wait until Travis comes out. Travis going to say, 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
He's a 3-year and done guy.
Yeah.
Shedeur, what do you call it? You see what happened to Akil Glass, 4 years out. What do you call it? Like, you might want to stay 4 years, pad your numbers, be a 2-time All-American to where, hey, look, I got the film here, I got the stats here, I got the program here. I'm coming out with Travis and all the other talent that we're recruiting. And by that time, hopefully the SWAC, the talent has continued to increase to where HBCU, where you go, we have a collection of talent that should be all through this draft to where Dion, Hugh Jackson, all these different entities, maybe Jerry Rice comes out of the woodwork and says, hey, look, if y'all don't do something with this draft, that's an indictment on the NFL as a whole. And, maybe we need to take away our viewership, from of entity until y'all start playing by our rules to a certain extent. I just think
what I want to say. What I want to say is that I think everybody knows that the NFL, has race issues, and they could be. You could say it's a racist system. It's a racist. They have some racist things about them. I mean, look at what they did to Colin Kaepernick. That's right in our face. They literally blackballed him because he stood up against police brutality. You know what I'm saying? And you still have people watching the NFL. They're still gonna watch the NFL. So that's not gonna happen. People love their football. They're gonna watch their football even though they know the system is what it is. What I'm saying is, what we have to do as black people, we have to put pressure on them to hire our people into their companies and organizations so we can begin to make change. That's how you do that. Like, you're not gonna stop them from being racist. They're gonna still be racist, but if they can make money, they will work with you. And what we have to do is use that to our advantage. You have to be smart and strategic when you're working with racist people.
But the thing is, if you're being hired into a racist structure, to where y'all were talking about there's 6 GMs that are black that are hired in quote unquote positions of power. So what happens is you have to work with these other moving parts that are still racist, whether it be the coaches, whether it be the owners, whether it be all these different structures that you have to work in to make these picks and these decisions, to where you're the minority and you're outnumbered, and if you step out on a limb too many times, you can be removed, and then they'll just put somebody else in that will play ball like they want. They might look like you, but they'll still play ball within their system and continue that power structure. So it's one of those things, just because you're getting hired or being integrated into this certain system does not mean the power dynamics have changed and the philosophy has changed. And if you don't play ball by these power structures, you'll just be removed. You'll be removed like a Brian Flores or whoever, or Colin Kaepernick or whatnot. Just being hired isn't good enough. I do believe in putting pressure, but the pressure has to be collectively from us in different ways. And I have to say it, with the goals that we have, if we're not willing to sacrifice viewership, how serious are we?
Repeat that. What did you just say?
If the goals of us wanting equality and to be given a fair shot is to really revolutionize whatever sports or NFL or how HBCUs are taken seriously by the NFL, if we have such a lofty goal like that and we're not willing to at least entertain sacrificing our viewership, how serious are we?
What I think you have to understand is that if all the players in NFL got on one accord and said, hey, if y'all don't hire black coaches, we're not gonna play, that will force the NFL to change. But you have to understand, some people, they think about, some of us, we think about ourselves. We think about our own families. That's why a lot of guys didn't take the knee, because they was like, hey, I'm not finna miss out on the check. If you look at what Pac-Man Jones said on I Am Athlete, he said that when Colin Kaepernick was doing it and they went to him and said, are you gonna take a knee? He was like, man, I'm getting $300,000 a week. I'm not taking a knee. I'm getting this check. I'm getting this money. I'm not finna take a knee because and miss out on my money over something that, I don't really too much know about. That's what he was saying, which you knew about. You knew what it was. He was just saying that, I didn't really know about it. He knew what it was. He just didn't want to miss that money. So you have a lot of people that's individualistic like that. So until everybody comes together, that would make it easier to tear down that system. But until then, we have to just get our guys into those offices and then try to make change that way. No, you're not going to be able to just go hire all black staff or something like that, but you'll be able to get one coach in. You'll be able to make little small moves, and then it'll compound over time. That's what you have to do.
And see, the thing is, power, this is what I always say, power concedes nothing without a demand. So yeah, they might concede a position, but what that one position that person has to do when they're in that position is concede everything that we're fighting for, which means you can't make that stand individually. The power comes from collectively. So when a Pac-Man Jones says, I'm just going to get the money, I understand why he does that, but understand that he's really going against the solution. The solution, the only power we really have, because we don't own the franchises, we don't own the league in any way, the only power that we really have that can change things that they're scared of is collectively. So what I'm saying is I understand why people don't do it, but that's exactly what it takes. So they'll give you the token person in these offices to do these different things. They'll give you the justice. They'll set up a camp for you or your own combine and all these different things. But when it comes down to actually changing the structure of things, it's not happening. You have a HBCU combine, but then Marquise Bell didn't get drafted. 30 teams come out, hey, Deion said something will come out. We'll send some scouts out there. And then he's an undrafted free agent. So what I'm saying is, these little concessions might make us feel good temporarily, but if we want to actually change these things and not continue to have these conversations, it's gonna have to be a collective. And I'm not saying everybody, but I don't even think you need, from your example, the NFL players, I don't think you need every NFL player.
So
if Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, Derrick Henry, all those guys came out, just one player per team, top player per team, to say, hey, I'm not playing.
Yeah, but
until Kaepernick is reinstated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would help.
Just that.
But what I would say about that is what you were saying before. So Detroit general manager is black. He drafted James Houston. So when I say we have to take baby steps and do small things to make big changes down the road, we might not be able to do it all at once. But a GM taking a HBCU athlete, him being a black GM that knows about HBCUs, his mama even said, you need to take an HBCU athlete when you do a draft. When you going to start looking at the HBCU athletes? His mama put that pressure on him, and he made sure he made that happen. So it's little things like that that can compound over time and create change. I'm not hopeless to think that, it'll never change. I just think we just need to put ourselves in position to begin to create change. Yes, it's a racist system. Yes, we understand that. But I think over time, if we continue to bite at it, we'll make some changes in the NFL. That's what I believe.
And you know what? I'm not gonna. I understand and I respect that. I respect your opinion. You know what I'm saying? I don't have that same level of hope in that solution, but I hope that I'm wrong. But what I say is, what it's shown me is that these movements happen from collective power. Individually, he might be able to do one thing here and there, but he doesn't have the power to even reform a system. And the thing is, another thing before I go is, one of the problems too is that we get too happy with the minor concessions. So Deion was out, and I love Deion. I'm not trying to go against Deion, but I'm saying just this one particular instance. Just the day before, he said, I think we have about 10 draftable players. But then when 4 get drafted, you're dancing and saying, praise Jesus, praise the Lord, that's good enough. And then Isaiah Land can look at that and say, man, I just saw Marquise Bell getting drafted, and you're saying go undrafted, and you're saying praise the Lord. I don't want to be collateral damage like Marquise Bell. And, 6 of us just go to the wayside, and we're just happy with the 4, and I made this sacrifice. No, I mean, I feel like we have to hold people accountable collectively and not get happy so much with just individual concessions. No, either you're going to do the actual thing, you know what I'm saying, or we're not messing with you.
I see.
We have the talent. We are the base.
My response to that is what Deion did. Deion is smart. Deion know he can't come out and complain about those players not being drafted and, really excoriating the NFL like that when these players still have to get contracts signed for undrafted free agents and stuff like that. So, he's probably behind the scenes trying to get his players to get contract signings and get camp invites and things like that. All players in the SWAC, trying to get players in the SWAC. So he's not gonna piss them off by going out and saying some crazy stuff like that. Like I say, it's the long game.
No, and you
have to be strategic.
And I understand. But that's the whole problem. You still have a power structure where you can't even tell them the truth without them getting pissed off. So how serious is it really challenge to power when you can't even say what is the truth, even if it's coming from a non-threatening, sincere place? We have to get serious. I'm like, we got to get serious about what.
So what would you have wanted him to do? What would you have wanted Deion to do? You would just want him to go.
Go ahead.
No, so you want him to just go out and be like, NFL, y'all this and y'all that, y'all only drafted 4 players and blah 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 blah. Pretty much destroy the relationships that he have, that he's built up. Get these people mad and pissed off at you and like, okay, we're not gonna do anything for your players. Do you want him to do that, or what you want him to do?
What is the relationship if they're still not drafting Marquise Bell? What I'm saying is, I'm not saying go out and just be belligerent. I'm just saying go out and keep that same energy and that same pressure that you have with your platform to say the truth. If they do something good and they do something that leads toward our goal, yeah, say, hey, that was good. But when something is going on that you see that clearly not right, and you have a platform, and this is your message, and this is your passion, and this is what you feel like your calling is, then you have to speak the truth, even if it does offend those people, and if those relationships are really sincere, and they're really with trying to actually make that change and being in coalition with you, then they'll be right on board. But the thing is, those relationships aren't sincere, and they do things to placate to Deion Sanders to keep their PR to what it is, and he knows that if he does speak out too much, he won't get those small concessions, but they're not serious about doing anything beyond that. They aren't. So and they're not going to be serious until people like Deion and other people and us collectively, not just Deion by himself. We can't just put him on an island. Collectively, continue to keep this pressure on continuously in every pressure point we possibly can until that change happens. In my opinion.
All right,
in my opinion, I'm not saying.
So to combat that, what you saying, with Marquise Bell, you would have those that sit there and say, okay, well, Texas safeties didn't get drafted. Marquise Bell was one of the first ones to get a contract with the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys signed Marquise Bell over Texas Longhorns safeties. They're players that was trying to come out. So you would have people saying, go ahead.
I'm sorry to keep cutting you off. Go ahead.
No, I was saying that the Dallas Cowboys taking Marquise Bell, that's a big thing. Even though he didn't get drafted, and I feel like they should have drafted him, gave him that honor of drafting him, but I feel like them immediately signing him to a contract, giving him an opportunity, I think that's big for him. An organization like that giving him that opportunity, I think that's big. I don't think that's nothing to sneeze at.
So I'm gonna respond to that two ways. One, Marquise Bell is better than the safeties from Texas. Second of all, what do you call it, Marquise? I can't give you credit for still not doing the right thing and then doing the bare minimum. Yeah, you gave him you signed him to a contract and you gave him a quote unquote opportunity. He earned that opportunity. He earned more. He earned enough for 30 scouts to come out and see him. He earned enough by running a 4.41 at the draft. He earned enough by being like an All-American and putting that on film for 2 years. He earned that right of being drafted. So I can't give you credit for signing him as an undrafted free agent. You knew he was good enough because you were one of the scouts that came out to see him. You flew him out 3 times and you called him immediately after the draft was over. So it's not like you're doing some type of charity. You know this player is the good. You just didn't want to pay him and give him the honor, and FAMU and HBCU the honor of being drafted like he was supposed to be drafted, because there's no reason. He has the size, he has the speed, he has the film, he tested well. They did a freaking documentary on him, a very well put one, and he's still an undrafted free agent. That makes zero sense to me. There's only one thing I can look to, in my opinion. Again, this is my opinion, and I respect your opinion, so I'm not trying to disrespect you.
I mean, if you watch the program, I said exactly what you're saying. I said they should have drafted him. There's no excuse for them not drafting him. But I will say,
why am I giving him credit for signing him as an undrafted free agent?
No, what I'm saying is them signing him as an undrafted free agent is not bad. I'm not saying to look down on that, because it's an opportunity for him to be on the team. An opportunity that a lot of guys at the FBS schools this year didn't get. he at least got that opportunity. It's not going to change overnight. We still got to work at this thing. It's not going to change overnight. It's not going one day Deion comes into the conference 1 year, and then the next year they're going to be taking 20 and 25 HBCU players. That's not going to happen. We're going to have to chip at this thing, chip away at this thing.
And I understand, and what I'm saying is, I understand that part, but what I'm saying is Marquise Bell getting signed as an undrafted free agent is not chipping. This is actually a step backwards. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, you know what I'm saying, that's a cautionary tale. That's one of those things where Isaiah Land and future prospects look at it and go, dang. So what I'm saying is that's not, to me, and I think we have to understand the hierarchy and politics of just camps. There's things called camp bodies, where a lot of these people that are getting invited to mini camps, you're literally just a camp body. They bring you in to fulfill the requirements of amount of players that they need to have at these camps, but they have no intention of actually signing you. And you're gonna. But
see, we can't say that because there's plenty of players in the NFL. There's plenty. Hold on. Let me say this. There's plenty of players in the NFL that they got their career started from being, getting invited to these camps. So we just can't say that. You're right. You're not going to get a chance for being invited to a camp.
No, I'm not saying you're not. I'm saying you're right. Those are individual circumstances. But if you look at the numbers and the percentages, after the fourth round where you don't have a guaranteed spot, the percentages drastically drop and you making the team. Then if you go to the undrafted free agent, then the percentages go even down way further to making the team. If you're just getting a camp invite, it goes down even further. I'm saying if you there's individual.
I don't live by percentages. I feel like if I got the talent, I could do it. I'm believing in myself and what I can do. There are first round and second round draft picks that's not going to be in the league in 2 years. That's in this draft that just got drafted. They're not going to be in the league in 2 years. But it's up to the individual to work hard and put in the work and start their career and become a good pro in the NFL. It's up to the individual. Like, you get that opportunity, you got to shine. Like Akil Glass, he got to go down to Tampa Bay, he got to shine. These cards may be stacked against you, but it's up to the individual to put in the work and get the shine that they need.
I agree to an extent, but somebody has to look at the numbers in overtime and see how these things are being effective as a collective, as a whole, and not just look at things as individual. If you're a player and you're in that situation, you have no choice but to look at it that way and to do your best and make the most out of the situation. But if we're trying to change the situation, we do have to look at the macro entire situation and look at these numbers and look at what we're exactly up against. When you're talking about guys that are going to be in the league that are first and second round, yeah, that's true. But what I'm saying, they have every opportunity, because what happens is these teams can't afford to cut them because they spent draft picks and they spent guaranteed money on them. So they're playing with a deck to where they might not be good enough, but they're still going to take a spot from someone who might be good enough, like a Marquise Bell, who, doesn't have that guaranteed roster spot because of the politics of the situation and because of these power structures. And these are how they affect these guys at these black schools and these small schools. And we have to take that into effect. But I've been talking for long enough, and I respect your opinion. I actually got to go, but thank you for letting me burn this one.
I appreciate the call. All right, so with that, what these players got to do, they got to go into camp and they got to bust these other players' ass. That's what they got to do. That's what you got to do. You got to put on. You got to show that you belong there. It doesn't matter. I got another call coming in. It doesn't matter where you come from. The cream is going to rise to the top. Those coaches going to see you outworking those other players, and they're going to be like, hold up. Like Shannon Sharp said, Shannon Sharp went in the 7th round. He was going to practice. He was busting their heads in practice. And the coach said, hey, man, we just got to put him in the game. And you see what he did. He got his opportunity. He capitalized on it. Now he's a Hall of Famer. Let me get this other call. Hold on just a second. What's going on, Carly Live? Talk to me.
Hey, what's up, bro? It's Coach Simmons.
What's going on, Coach Simmons?
Hey, man, you know what's funny, man? Look at this thing. Do y'all realize that no Texas Longhorns were drafted?
Yeah, I've been saying that.
So it don't really matter where you're at. It don't really matter where you're playing at, who you're playing against. They see talent, they'll go get the talent, man.
Yeah.
Like you knew there was a guy from Ocho Baptist University was drafted.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think Wichita Baptist. I think that's what it was.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like you gotta put the work in on a 10-day contract, man. It's basically like if you go to college, they have a thing called preferred walk-on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so you still gotta grind yourself up and show what you can do. And yeah, we know you put work in college, but you still gotta go and perform. But I think the biggest narrative that's going out of this draft, man, is the fact that what they kept saying was that it wasn't who we were playing, that we were too nice. If you heard the keywords they were saying, they kept saying, well, this player is aggressive, this player is violent, this player is basically thuggish.
Mm-hmm.
But the HBCUs don't graduate those kids like that. They graduate black men. They're saying that we're too nice to play in the NFL.
So you're saying they said that HBCU players are too nice to play in the NFL? I've never heard that.
That's the narrative that they're putting out, because all players they said were drafted were basically, well, the kid from Northern Iowa, he's violent on the offensive line. One kid came out from North Dakota State. Well, he has that go-getter mentality. But when they announced HBCU players, they just say, well, he's good at this or he has the measurables. They never announced the talent. So it's like they're trying to give us a backhand compliment saying, well, I would rather hire you in my office than hire you on my field. I know it sounds stupid, man, but
yeah, I mean, I think that's a bit of a reach. I mean, but that's your opinion. You know, that's your opinion. I can't get mad at you for your opinion. I don't see it like that. I think because I don't think you can look at James Houston highlights and think that he's soft. He's a nasty player. He's gonna go get you.
What,
he comes with bad intentions.
They never showed James Houston. Well, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I'll say he comes with bad intentions when he's going after the quarterback and when he's hitting people.
But they never showed James Houston the HBCU highlights. They only showed the ones from Florida.
But even with the Florida highlights, he was coming with bad intentions. You know?
Yeah, but I'm saying, but they really didn't want to show he was from an HBCU. If you saw on the, I think it was ESPN draft, they didn't even really mention. It was at the very bottom of the screen, Lions, James Houston. The guys were talking over it. They weren't even mentioning James Houston was being drafted. Or I think it was NFL Network. They showed a commercial about being black or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then, oh yeah, here's James Houston.
Yeah, I mean, on the NFL Network, they gave me his dude. They talked about Coach Prime. You know, the ESPN broadcast was terrible. It wasn't just because of the HBCU athletes. It was because they did the same thing with the other players too. They skipped over them. They didn't talk about them. It was a lot of players they didn't talk about. So the ESPN broadcast was terrible. They had somebody kind of wedding going on and all this other kind of stuff. Like they were just doing a bunch of dumb stuff on the ESPN broadcast. So it was just I don't count what ESPN does because, you know, it's ESPN. They're gonna be biased. They're gonna do dumb stuff like that. I can't stand ESPN, by the way, y'all. Y'all know if y'all watch my channel, y'all know I can't stand ESPN. I think they're garbage. I think they do stuff to really downplay black people, but that's just my opinion. Mm-hmm. I can't stand ESPN. But yeah, the NFL Network was way better. The broadcast was way better. So you should have watched the NFL Network.
I'll learn next year.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
But the whole thing about the SWAC not playing people, man, have you seen the schedule this year?
Mm-hmm.
They playing everybody in the South, from Texas Southern's playing North Texas and UTSA. So they're playing UAB, they're playing Troy, they're playing all these schools, man, but they get no credit for it.
Yeah.
And the draft basically proves, man, it don't matter who the hell you play. Can you play?
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
Texas played everybody. They got their ass whooped in the draft, man.
Yeah, I think it's about who you play sometimes, but it depends on the player. If the player is talented enough, they will take that chance on the player. Like that kid from Fayetteville State, 6'3", long arms, big body, can move fluid.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna take a chance on that. They're not gonna let that go by. They're gonna take that chance. But yeah, Coach Sim, I appreciate the call though.
No problem, my man. Love the show.
All right, thank you for the call.
Well.
JSU playing North Texas 2023. I think that's Texas State, JSU Tigers. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's Texas State, not North Texas. G-Dub, most SWAC players don't have the measurables. I don't agree with that. Especially not the SWAC players now. Marquise Bell definitely has the measurables. Actually, Jacoby Durant didn't really have the measurables. He's actually a shorter player at his position. But because of what he did against Clemson, they picked him up. They picked him up. I got another call. I'm going to take this caller. This is going to be my last call for the night. All right. What's going on, caller? You live?
Hey, what's up, SWAC Buzz?
What's going on?
Man, it's Antonio, man, from Memphis, Tennessee. How you doing?
Doing good. What's going on? Talk to me.
Man, listen, I wanted to get your opinion on Isaiah Land transfer. I don't know if you talked about it earlier or not, but what's your opinion on it?
Yeah, I talked about this plenty of times on here, but I think he should stay at FAMU. I've said it. I think he should stay at FAMU, and go into the draft, be a drafted player from HBCU. But like I said, my mentality is different. I would want that clout of being an HBCU draft pick. That's just my personal mentality. That's what I would want, because I would want to be an icon in my black community. That's where my head would be at. Some players don't think like that. They probably like, man, I don't care, man. I just want to go to a Power 5 and go to the league. But I would, because I would be thinking about after I'm done playing. I would think, like if I go to the NFL from an HBCU and I have a good pro career, after I retire, they're probably going to build a statue of me at this school. I'm probably going to get a building named after me. My families, my kids are going to be able to benefit off my clout of what I did for this school and what I did for the black community. And so my name would be all in the history books, and it would be I would be an important figure for black people. That I would want that. So that's why I say I'm different. My mindset is different, And so that's why I think players like Travis Hunter, that's what he wants. He wants to be an HBCU legend. He wants to be talked about years and years and years on down the road. People talking about him. They're going to be playing that video of him committing for years and years to come. They're going to always be playing that video. If he goes to the NFL and go to the Hall of Fame, they're going to always play that video. This is where it started. He committed. He threw away all those hats of those big-time Power 5 schools, and he picked the HBCU, and he went on to be a great player in the NFL. So, that's just where my mind would be at. I would want that.
Yeah. And I think Coach Prime too got it like timed right, because like you said, it's not gonna happen overnight. We just get a bunch of players from the SWAC or MEAC or whatever going that early. Like just us getting 4 this year is just a huge. We had what, 1 in the last 2-3 years. To get 4 that's still a huge jump. I think everybody trying to think that we're gonna get some of these teams getting 10 people alone. Like a lot of people kind of mad that North Dakota State was getting a lot of draft picks. I'm like, they've been champions 5 of the last 7 years. They got 2 quarterbacks in the NFL. They went top 10. They have that that mentality to them, kind of they kind of know that North Dakota State they win like that. But I think Coach Brown timed it perfectly though, because what I think he's gonna do is because everybody want Jackson State to put all these, Power 5 and all these, all these FBS schools on here. But like you said, he want to dominate the conference first And then when because we saw when FAMU went to the the playoff, it was that kind of didn't go well. So it's like he understood, like, okay, I only beat that team by 1 point. I got to make sure that when we do compete on this level, we want to win. I mean, they almost beat ULM,
Yeah.
But I think what's going to happen is I think when Shadur become a senior and Travis and Coleman both juniors, where they all eligible at the same time, I think he's gonna put some dogs on the schedule to where they can really get their film out there. I think because that's how Durant got drafted from South Carolina State.
Yeah, he's taping against
Clemson. You know. And I think he's timing it. I think he's timing it right to where he like, I know at this time, like we're trying to get a bunch of plethora of players from Jackson State to go. And I think he's just timing and waiting till he get his offense set right, the offensive line set right, where they dominating and they really competing with those FBS schools to where it's like, okay, hold on, where they're getting multiple players.
Yeah, but let me get this other call because I'm gonna end the show tonight. So let me get this other call. But I appreciate the call.
Oh, yeah,
all right, thank you. All right, this is gonna be the last call, y'all. Let me get this one. All right, caller, you live. Talk to me.
Hey, what's up, though? This is Fort Murray. What's going on?
What's going on?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about what was the guy from I know Hunter got drafted, right? I mean Hunter. Went to Jackson State. What was the other guy who was like an All-American, the wide receiver that signed with Jackson State? What was his name?
Are you talking about the freshman?
Yeah, the freshman. I ain't talking about the draft. I'm the freshman.
Kevin Coleman Jr.
Yeah, Kevin Coleman Jr. No, but y'all was talking about HBC schools. I'm 58 years old, be 59. When I was growing up, like Grambling, guys who was going to LSU getting now, 35 years ago, they were going to Grambling. So black kids, this is before they started paying everybody. In other words, kids used to go to HBC schools. Some of the best athletes. Now they've been going to white schools. Like in Arkansas, a lot of kids used to go to UAPB back in the day, like way back when I was a kid, 15 when I was in high school. But now they all go to Arkansas. They used to go to UAPB. You know what I'm saying? Because how things change. But now I hope they start going back to HBC schools. But like you said earlier, if you go to an HBC school, you can build a monument about it. But a lot of kids, if you're good, they're gonna find you. But the good kids wasn't going to HBC schools in the last 10 years. They was going all to the white schools. So that's really, now they finna start going back. But HBC schools basically didn't have the great athletes anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with what you're saying. I appreciate the call, though. I'm going to go ahead and end the show. Thank you for the call.
Thanks, man.
All right.
All right, thanks for the comment, man. How often does your show be on?
Yeah, I usually go live once a week or once or twice a week. But, I mean, when the season starts, I'll be going live multiple days a week. But we're in the off season now, so I go live like once or twice a week. But I put out a post, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. I put out a post when I'm doing a live show, and I'll be dropping videos all through the week
anybody
as
well. Person of color, man, I'm gonna subscribe to it. But no, I was noticing what y'all was talking. The athletes, you know what I'm saying? Like when homeboy for Jerry Rice and all them guys, and Eddie Walter Payton back in Jackson. Back in the day, athletes went to those schools. They didn't go to Ole Miss. They went to Jackson State. They went to Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. All right, but thanks, though, man, for the call.
All right, thank you.
You have a blessed day.
All right. All right, shout out to that brother. Hold on just a second, y'all. Shout out to that brother. Y'all be coming in here telling us stuff we already know. I love my old heads, but they come in here, they be telling us stuff we know Jerry Rice with the Valley. We know Walter Payton with the Jackson State. We know. We know this. We know all the best HBCU players used to go, the best black players used to go to HBCU back in the day. We know this. But I love when the old heads call. They come in dropping their game though. I appreciate all the old heads that watch the show. Y'all are always welcome. We need the wisdom. But yeah, y'all. We're going to end this show. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to the channel. I cover SWAC content over here. I'll be dropping more videos this week. I'll be going live later on too, and I'll let y'all know. Y'all know I put out a post when I go live, so I'll let y'all know when I go live. But until then, I'll see you guys on the next one. I'm gone.